This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy and other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
The script has been flipped. All of the #1 seeds have been eliminated. Today, 2 underdogs will face off for a chance to make history. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Masters Shanghai lower bracket final live from the Mercedes-Benz Arena. I'm your host, Yingsu, and I've got Mimi and Doug with us today. Doug, we get to witness a best of 5, and we also get to witness a guaranteed new trophy lifter here in Shanghai.
That's one of my favorite things about these international events is you have the opportunity for something like that every time. The stories write themselves from day one, and it's so easy to get dialed in.
And both these teams have had such miraculous runs to make it here. Team Heretics playing with the sub, G2 the team that everyone counted out, and one of them is going to make the finals today.
Yeah, and speaking of that final, yesterday, Mimi, Gen G, they made it through. They are looking like the tournament favorites for sure.
I mean, they made it look easy against G2, to be quite honest. Both of these maps started with really strong halves out of Gen G. I think their ascent as it has throughout this tournament was looking impeccable. And in both of them, G2 started to kind of find some bit of rally towards the end and made it a little bit closer. But in the end, that comeback was never enough. Their team plays looking on point, and they look ready to win a trophy.
I mean, Texture was a freak this entire time, and I think a lot of the things are going to continue to struggle with G2R is these slow starts. They've got to find a way to get past these.
Yeah, and for 100 Thieves, Dog, who knew that they would be the one to be knocked out before the lower finals?
Yeah, there's just something about this Heretics roster, though. I mean, every single question that's been asked of them, they continue to answer in the face of a #1 seed, in the face of Boostio getting out of his seed, in the face of all of these things coming together. Like, those kids are the truth, and it's really hard to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking so good, and you've seen them get better every match they play this tournament, every time that they've come back in. But G2 has been their kryptonite. They've lost them twice, so today's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, it will be indeed. As you guys can see on your screen, we do have a bit of a Swiss even stage buff, which isn't even a Swiss stage buff because it's just the second seed buff. I think every team that's still in this tournament are technically
I think it is actually a Swiss stage buff, though. I think like coming early, getting that warm-up time, having more time to kind of adjust to the routine in some place so far from home for most of these times is actually really huge, and it means you're getting into that like flow state early in the tournament to keep the momentum throughout.
Yeah, I think this is a discussion that we have what feels like every event, right? Is it better to come in and skip Swiss stages and come in as a #1 seed? Honestly, at the end of the day, the team that shows up is the team that shows up. And I think we're just as likely to see some cracked out kids go through Swiss stage and go to the grand finals, and you could see the same out of a #1 seed.
Preach, Doug. Preach it. But let's take a look at the bracket, because I have a question for you guys. Which team are you most surprised at not making it to a top 3 here? Before we got here.
It has to be Paper X, right? Like, they looked great in Pacific. They were, after, some stumbles early on, reintegrating Jing. They were rolling there. They had great ideas. Everyone was in form. They looked primed to make a finals and maybe even win the whole thing.
I think that was the general consensus, is Paper X will finally win an event, right? Like, this is theirs for the taking. They struggled right off the bat. I think another team that was unfortunately very disappointing to see their performance was EDG.
Yeah.
I was very excited to see them play on the soil. You think about when Kong and the rest of that roster took Valorant by storm. And to see them fall so short here, it was really sad, to be honest.
I think for America's fans as well, seeing 100 Thieves go out this early, not kind of allowing Boostio a chance to defend the title that he picked up in Champions for another chance at a trophy with a new team. They looked really good through most of the event, but unfortunately faced some great opposition and end up getting bested by Team Heretics.
Honestly, my rogue pick is Leviathan. I thought Leviathan would make it pretty deep.
I don't know. I was
definitely not as early exit as they
but
had.
still seeing Icebox go out in Swiss is always a surprise, even if the team has struggled.
Imagine Icebox in this arena with this
They love him here too.
They literally love him.
Remember how crazy the fans were going for Icebox during the groups? It was crazy.
It would be very sad. But of course, we have one massive game coming up today. It is a very, very straightforward third installment between G2 and Team Heretics. But the thing is, that's going to be a best of 5. We're going to be talking about that in just a moment. And I think in a best of 5, the stakes, the protocols, the mental resilience, that changes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's an entirely different landscape, right? You don't have the advantage of being able to go through bans and have to avoid other maps that you don't necessarily feel as strong in. This just kind of shows what you're made of.
Yeah, and before we get into that matchup, we want to recognize some of the best here in Shanghai, even perhaps some of them that didn't make it as far. It's time to pick why am I saying our? It's time to pick Doug and Mimi's all-star team here in Masters Shanghai.
Her all-star team is Team Heretics.
My all-star team won in Brazil at Game Changers. Me and Bea made an all-star team and they beat you guys. I don't know if you guys remember
I try
this.
to forget it.
But now we've been turned against each other.
You have. So I want you guys to pitch me your all-star team and pitch it to chat as well. You guys are going to get an opportunity to get involved. Make sure to spam whether you think Mimi's all-star team is better or Doug's is better. And Mimi, I'm going to start with you first.
Okay, let's take a look at my team. I want to start off with the IGL, the leadership. It's so important to having a great team, and that's, of course, Boostio. He brings the vibe, he brings the energy to any squad. We saw how he reinvigorated the players on 100 Thieves. You pair him up with someone he knows well, EU. That guy was fantastic throughout this tournament and looks great in Americas as well. He's a super flexible guy when he's playing on the Initiator and also adds a lot of calm, so can help Boosty out with some of the calling. When we talk, though, about the specific players on the team, you gotta find some stars. And I have two rookies who are gonna bring that power. The first one is Woot. I don't need to really say anything. He's Woot. He's been ridiculous this entire time. And then you add Karen onto the mix, one of the best anchors we've seen throughout this event thus far. And I mean, they have looked ridiculous. You pair that leadership with the firepower. And then, of course, you need one more man to close out the team. A rock, an anchor, and someone who can win in the clutch. And I've picked Alpha. Fnatic went out pretty early in this tournament, but he has been good every damn event he shows up for.
Mimi, your team is based. I wasn't sure what I was expecting because I saw Bea's team a little bit earlier and Kukuga, I'm sorry. Her team lacked a little bit of something, but I love this. I love the choices.
You get great leadership. You get some of these rookies that have been impressing us so much, and you get Alpha, who's just so consistent. I think this team would cook.
Oh, Doug, what
Really?
you got? What you got?
Yeah, I have a very different take on this situation. I'm going to start with the IGL as well, and we need to talk about Valen. Valen is my GOAT. Valen, in my thoughts, is incredible.
What's the next line?
I put up Valen against your IGL, who, friendly reminder, went 1-13 on an elimination match last night.
Wait,
No,
what happened the last time
hang
G2
on,
played
hang on.
100
This
Thieves?
is my turn. This is my turn, all right? This team, incredible. Rinses her team top to bottom every single chance. You've got Texture and you've got Meteor, who are freaking dynamic. They take over games. I'm going to run a double duelist comp every single
You're
time.
gonna put Meteor on duelist?
I'm going to do a double
You're
duelist
the worst
comp
GM in the
every
business.
single time. And I kid you not, we're not going to lose a single map. You got Benji Fishy, who is electric. The kid pops off out of his seat. How do you not love this guy? Benji Fishy against the world. No questions
Alpha
asked.
beat
we
him.
talked about Alphayear's not playing in the tournament anymore. Mimi,
Wow.
Alphayear's gone home.
Yeah, but he's a superstar.
Again,
Wow.
Valen frags from top to bottom. Exceptional caller.
Except for when he doesn't.
He's also still in the tournament, unlike your IGL. He's an exceptional caller. He frags from top to
100 Thieves
bottom.
beat
He's
Paper X
so
and lost to a
smart
Faker.
about how he approaches the game and his calling from top to bottom. And then somebody who I personally really love, who doesn't get enough gas, is EU. The value that he provides that roster is insane, and he often doesn't get his flowers. I'm a huge EU fan. My team clears
You're the
yours.
first person to ever like EU, I think.
I thought one of us was.
In fairness, EU does clear NA, so I get it.
stop,
I get it.
stop.
I will say though, Doug, you had me a Texture. You had me a Texture. I feel like Texture needs to be in an all-star team. Doesn't matter what kind of context it is. So
Counterpoint to that, Yinsu.
yes,
Woot.
you could have Woot and Texture.
Yeah?
You guys, I don't know why you didn't have Woot and Texture on your team.
Because I'm thinking about roles, and I'm
Don't think
thinking
about
about
roles.
logic,
Can I
and I'm
just
trying to be a responsible general
But
manager
do you
to my
rem-
super team,
Do you
unlike Douglas.
remember how me and Bea beat you guys in Brazil with our super team? We picked 5 IGLs and we won.
Yeah,
and
it
chat
was
loved
rigged.
it.
It was
Yeah,
rigged. It was rigged from the start.
It was rigged. And honestly, this one might be rigged as well, but if any of you at home are watching, use your brain. Forget
Okay.
about going with your heart.
I
Trust
mean-
me, my team is better.
It looks like, Doug, you are getting the favor right now. I don't know when this poll is going to stop, but Doug...
Stop the count.
Doug,
I have
Doug
one
is
simple
beating
thing.
people.
I have one simple thing. What did Busio do to the 100 Thieves players? Think about them in 2022 versus, or 2023 versus this year in 2024. All of them look like new men. Smiles
right.
on the face.
All right.
Performance is back.
We've
That's fair.
stopped the count. We've stopped the
No,
count. The vote
no.
has been stopped.
It's for the best
if this
because I
is,
have a counter.
if,
so.
if we brought back the Electoral College for this honest, I'm just saying I would have won. I'm just saying I would have won.
Congratulations, Doug, for that victory. Tell us about your all-star team with the hashtags VCT and VALORANT Masters. And while you are at it, scan the QR code and take part in today's MasterCard fan poll. Which team will move on to tomorrow's grand final against Gen G? Is it going to be G2 or is it going to be Team Heretics? Cast your vote right now and we'll have the result in just a bit. And while you're at it, make sure to tell us why maybe Mimi should have deserved to win that poll. We'll see. But earlier, Mika Fabs did catch up with Team Heretics Boo to talk about today's lower final.
Hey guys, we've had Boo here from Team Heretics. Boo, it's the farthest that the squad has gotten in a global VCT event. And now you're up against G2. Once again, they've beaten you guys twice before. Is the third time the charm here? What is different this time around? Let us know.
Yeah, I think third time is the charm. I think we're a better team overall if you don't struggle mentally and also if you focus on our fundamentals. And that's going to be our goal today.
All right, well, good luck out there.
Well, I feel like at this point, maybe even Boo is sick and tired of playing up against G2 because this is the third time we're seeing this matchup. This is truly the end of the trilogy, the return of the king, the return of the Jedi, revenge of the Sith.
Keep going.
Any other?
Yeah. No,
Come on, Doug, help me out.
No,
help me out.
I'm leaving you in this.
You got
can figure this one out.
Help me out.
It's the third time they've played, though. And both times it's played before, it's been a banger. But it's gone the same way. Team Heretics go off to an early lead, and then G2, plot twist in the end, they come back, they win map 2 and 3, and they take home the series.
Captain America's Civil War. Carry on, sorry.
They just don't like doing things the easy way. And you're right, they always lose map 1, and then they get rolled in the beginning of map 2, and you go, oh no, this is over, this is the end. But for both times, or at least in the first round of this trilogy, the rounds came in bunches for G2 once they started getting things going. Remember, they lose map 1, and then map 2 starts, and they're getting beat up, and then they win 8 rounds in a row to keep things competitive to win map 2. Then they go to map 3, and they open that by winning 8 rounds in a row. So it really just feels like when things strike for them, they really take over.
They absolutely do. But the second time this match happened, it was, I think, even more of a comeback, even crazier than that. For Team Heretics, though, despite those losses to G2, they have beaten everyone else. They are the first team, besides Fnatic, since all the way back at Masters Copenhagen from the EMEA region to make it to top 3. They've already made history, but at this point, that trophy has to be the goal. And they cannot choke like they did in that last match they played. It was the biggest comeback for G2. It started the same way. It was another amazing map number 1 from this team. They came out swinging. Benji was looking incredible. Their prep on Icebox was on point, and they were up with 11 rounds on map 2. But then it all slipped away. Round after round, G2's defense on these retakes was impeccable, and they absolutely crumbled on the final map. And now today, they have to prove that they have grown since that team that has lost to comebacks twice and make it happen in the match that matters most.
Honestly, I feel like they need to just forget about that last time. Just pretend like it never happened.
Yeah,
just make sure in your brain you don't want to do that again.
Yeah, I think the formula for both of these teams here is if you're Heretics, you've got to find some resiliency. You've got to find a way to kind of get through that, get that past you, and then for G2, it's a similar idea, but you've got to find a fast start here. You can't come out of the gate slow, and yes, it's a marathon, so maybe you have a little bit more time to make up ground, but you don't want to find yourselves down 0-2.
You don't indeed, but this is the thing. Heretics have found themselves a new buff, another win condition, because yesterday, Mimi, we saw them win in overtime. In fact, so far this year, they haven't lost a single overtime at all.
Yeah, it's been incredible from them in these situations, in these kind of higher pressure moments, except apparently when they're playing against G2. They look great here. They played 100 Thieves' own comp on Bind, and honestly, they looked great with it, introducing this Fade Gecko combo that I think is really hard to pull off, having impeccable util timings between their players, setting Wood up for success, and then they proved why they've been looking like the best team on Sunset in this tournament with a dominant win against 100 Thieves.
It was such a stomp. I think after the Bind loss, 100 Thieves just looked lost. They looked like shells of the team that we'd grown to know, the team that was so dominant, was supposed to be the best Bind team in the world. I mean, it just all fell apart from there.
And what's crazy is I think that they had a good read. They had good ideas on what to do, but the execution from Team Heretics on their Sunset is just so damn good that they made that happen anyway.
I mean, you heard it from Benji on stage in that interview. He's like, just ban Sunset against us. why are you letting her through? Because everyone always says they have the answers, Doug, but they just don't.
But honestly, I mean, that was the conversation that we had with 100 Thieves around Bind. Just ban Bind against 100 Thieves. They're going to win, even if they have a mouse that's not working and not plugged in or whatever. Like, they're going to be able to win. But I think it takes a lot of grit and a lot of gusto for a team to go into that and go, I'm going to challenge you there anyway because I know I'm better.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I mean, I feel like the guys who, if we are going to see a better comeback, you know, a team that can rally in the face of pressure to bring the vibes, have to be Woot and Benji. When you watch these two on stage, it's just so clear that they're having so much fun. They have special handshakes after every round they win, and they're really bringing that energy to the rest of the team, which is so important to go on a run like this, where you're playing back-to-back-to-back days of Valorant, and you're losing close games. It's really necessary.
Yeah, you heard it from Avut here yesterday in the post-match on the desk. We're always trying to have fun for games. We're doing esports, not normal sports. We need to have fun to win. And honestly, we've heard it from this team, from the other players as well. Everybody, basically with the exception of Boo, is just taking this as a let's have fun, let's chill, let's just do whatever we want. And then you have the Don Daddy Boo sitting there like, okay, but let's actually also win.
Yeah, I mean, winning is fun. Right?
Yeah.
And if these kids continue to win, they can have all the fun they want, and it's not going to slow down. I think we've seen that approach from most teams across the Valorant history, right? You have teams who like to play loose, who like to have fun, who don't take things super seriously. Those are the ones that oftentimes at the end of the tournament are the ones lifting hardware.
I think of the teams of our last two wins at global events. Sentinels, it was always the talk about Zelsis, the Vibes Merchant, how well they played together. EG, when you talk to those players, they talk about how good friends, how close they were together, how much they could vibe on stage. Really, that mental aspect and just having that fun energy, not letting the pressure get to you, is so important to go on a run.
You want to try the...
Oh, I would.
You want to go with me?
You guys should do it.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what's first. What's first?
You go do fist bump.
All right, go on. No, other way.
This way.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
But you're happier now than you were before.
We don't have the vibes. We're not friends.
We won't win.
Against I'll do it with you.
Yeah, go on.
How does it work? Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Done.
see?
Done. There we go. There we go.
Fun.
Okay. Well. Let's get back to the content because this match also has a dramatic backstory. A year ago, the core of G2 were in Tier 2 fighting for a chance in Ascension. And now they are here at Masters Shanghai. And earlier, our very own Doug sat down with Valen and Trent to talk about their journey here.
Fellas, thank you so much for joining me. You guys have managed to do something that people, when they start playing Valorant, really could only dream of, right? You guys grinded through Ascension. You made it way through everything that went on with Ascension, which obviously was a lot, by the way. But now you're here. Now you're playing top 3 in Shanghai, the biggest stage you've ever played, the brightest lights you've ever played in. Before we get into the past, how sweet does this feel? How sweet is it to know that you're top 3 on the international stage against the best in the world?
I mean, for me, it's just about how I get to experience something so unique and different, like playing in front of 18,000 people with the same boys I did it back home, like just playing online. So it feels very nice and rewarding. I'm just so excited to face off against them.
Yeah, definitely feels almost surreal. Like, everyone dreams of this, and I don't know, I feel like we're just going to live in the moment, play our best that we can.
That's all you can really do. You mentioned you guys, playing at home. It was just like this, right? I mean, everything, the setup was the same, all of it. Tell me, jokes aside though, tell me a bit about what that was like, kind of grinding through that to get up until this point, because I imagine there was a lot of instances where you're like, I mean, if I wanted to quit, I'd have good reason to.
Yeah, I mean, at least before we made it to like Tier 1 at the Guard when we had our blow up, we were just both trying to get our names out there and trying to get on a good team. And the hardest part was like once we went from like Iceland back to Tier 2, and then we're just playing from like a facility every day, no lands, no crowd, nothing. Like that was pretty tough, but we knew like it was in order to get back here. So it feels really rewarding now that we're in this position.
Sure.
It feels like everything is kind of aligned for this moment. All the hard work and grind throughout Tier 2 to get here. Now it's about just living in the moment, like he said, and just have some fun and do our best.
Yeah, definitely feels like we're supposed to be here. We grinded the hard way, and we're supposed to be here.
Trent, as someone who I've had the pleasure of watching play over all these years and watching you develop, not just as a player, but as a human as well, what would you say is the biggest change you've seen in yourself from those early days of the Guard roster up until today?
I think like when I first had joined, I like didn't talk and I just like killed everyone. But I feel like now I've really made that a goal of mine to like be helping more in the mid round and just like really be the initiator and just talk more and also shoot my gun back. So definitely the comms aspect though.
What about you, man? You've been through the same grind, and as a leader, as the caller, there's more on your shoulders.
Yeah.
There's more that's demanded of you, and sometimes IGLs get a lot of light when it's good. IGLs also they're the first to get trashed when it's bad. How have you grown over these years?
I mean, I think for me, a lot of the growing, of course, in game, like getting smarter, but was a lot of out of game stuff.
Yeah.
Before I was just like kind of IGL, like I had no leadership qualities really, and when things got hard, I kind of got in my shell a little bit. I wasn't really expressive like outwards towards my teammates, but I always learned throughout the process. And as I get older, like I'm 21 now, I started when I was like 18. I realized how valuable it is to just be a leader for the team as well. So I'm I learned more about people. I think my people skills have gotten better throughout the years. Like through, it's kind of like cliche, but throughout all the hardship and struggle, just in-game wise, I've also learned how to become like a better human being and like
better man,
a better man, a better leader for the team. And so it all kind of came together.
Trent, what is the biggest thing that Valen offers your team?
I mean, I think he's the only IGL that goes positive in all these matches. And he definitely has the reads on all these teams. So he's, in my eyes, he's a top IGL, top 2, not number 2. And he also shoots back. So what else can you ask for?
Thanks, bro.
It doesn't get any better than that. Boys,
it doesn't.
Good luck. I mean, the world is watching, and this is the stage you guys have dreamt for and fought for all these years. I'm sure you guys will crush it. Back to you guys.
I think my favorite thing about Valen is he touched on it a little bit there, but it's his leadership. It's not, I mean, what he does in the server is great and his calling is exceptional, but being able to go through what he's gone through with that roster in the face of everything that's gone on and, their dreadful performance at Reykjavik all the way to this, you grow a lot. As a leader, you grow a lot as a team, and I think that's one of the reasons why, we were joking about it earlier, but I would build a team around that kid any day of the week.
But remember the context of what he said there, too, right? He said, I started when it was 18, and I've grown so much, and he's still only 21. Like, the guy is still so early into his career, into his, growth as a person and as a leader, and you can really see how it's gone from that young roster to now this roster who's performing at international events, who's building up even newer Tier 2 talent. It's just such an impressive run.
Let's talk about this growth, because G2, they lost against Gen G, the first time to do so in this tournament. How do they bounce back and grow from that match?
I think that this Gen G loss is, well, of course, the first loss that they faced this tournament, but a lot of it came down to having solid ideas, solid ways you wanted to play the map, but honestly having really slow starts, and that's been a consistent thing across this tournament. Losing map 1, going down 0-6, 0-7 in a map, and then having to bounce back. I really think, I don't know how you change that. I think narrowing down what causes slow starts is really hard, even if you're on the team and you're watching them all the time, but if they could get a strong start today against Heretics, get an early map 1 win, get a pistol round, anything like that, I think can really help to build the momentum, because when this team is at their best, they can beat the best. But when they're starting slow like this every game and having to build back into comebacks, as they did in both previous Heretics series, it makes it way harder to close out as the competition gets better and better.
Yeah, they start off on the back foot. I think a lot of the questions around G2 are how are they going to be able to bounce back, right? And there have been doubters for this team from the beginning. You mentioned it earlier. We didn't think they were going to make Shanghai.
I mean, they are the most doubted team at this tournament.
We didn't think they were going to make Shanghai, and then we didn't think they were going to make it out of Swiss, and then we didn't think they were going to make it to the Mercedes-Benz Arena. And I think their entire time it's been peppered by a litany of questions. How are they going to do this? Can they respond to that? How are they going to bounce back? And they answer those every time in the face of everyone who's doubted. And I'm one of the first culprits to admit that that's been the case, but they just look so good. They continue to answer the questions.
I can't wait to see how they're going to bounce back for today. And let's hear from one of the players on G2. It's Leaf, standing by even with Mika Fabs.
Hey guys, I'm here right now with Leaf of G2. Now Leaf, it's been a while since we've seen you, in Champions 2021 and in VCT Lock-in when you were with Cloud9. It's been a while since you stepped onto that global VCT stage. So take us back. What went through your head yesterday as you stepped onto the Mercedes-Benz Arena?
It was just kind of surreal, like the amount of people. I haven't really played in front of a live crowd since Sao Paulo, and we didn't really get it that far, and not a lot of people were rooting for us, but here it just kind of feels like euphoric having that many people cheer for us, so it's really unique.
So happy to see you have your moment. Good luck out there.
Thank you.
This is definitely a big stage and a big place for them to be able to, like you guys said, silence the doubters once again. Because I think with the way the Heretics are going, Mimi, at least a lot of people are probably expecting them to be the ones to make a grand final.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would, right? This is a team that has gotten so much better if you compare to that first game they played against G2 to now. But I think at this point, G2 does need to be given credit for their tenacity to come back in game after game, and also for their specific prep work. Remember, well, they did just play that game the other day. They're very familiar with Heretics, and I think when they've had a little time, when Josh has had a good read on what the map pool is going to be, they actually come out with really good prep. And also, they just have some stars who can change the game.
Why is Trent not in your all-star team? I want to know.
Doug?
Why didn't Trent make it?
She was asking you.
I'm asking
Did you have
both
him
of
in your team? Neither of us did.
Yeah, why did Trent not
asking
make
you.
it?
Okay, you're just going to fully
I didn't have
deflect.
him on
I'm
Okay.
asking both of you.
You have a future as a
deflecting.
politician, Douglas. Why did he not make it into my all-star team? Because
You
I've
forgot.
rated you a little bit higher, and also because I might have forgotten about Trent a little bit. And you know what? Who can blame me? But the reasons I maybe would have, if I had remembered last night, was his insane clutches. They are so consistent at just winning these late round moments for Trent. His util is always on point, and also his coordination between the team. He's been playing with these guys for years, and it's so good together with them. And in these rough spots, when they need that comeback, when they need that clutch, I think he's often the guy to kickstart that.
Yeah, and I think for a long time...
But why didn't you put him in your team?
I agree.
I'm about to explain.
Okay.
For a long time there, Trent was the truth, right? Like, you think about his time...
Oh my Trent even.
You think about his time on the guard and how electric he was, and he was delivering clutches every single time he was out on the stage, and then he got a little quiet. He wasn't performing as well as we were used to. We saw him just a couple of days ago have a couple of really dreadful starts.
Get to the point, politician.
But I do think that he's going to continue to improve, and he continues to improve. He's starting to answer the call again, and this is what you expect out of a guy like Trent. When the stage is that big, when the lights are that bright, somebody needs to be that spark, and Trent historically struggled for a little bit, but he's getting back into that fold.
Why didn't you put him on your team? You didn't answer the question.
Because EU has performed more consistently, in my opinion.
There we go. But it's time for the result of the MasterCard fan poll. Earlier, we asked you which team is moving on to tomorrow's grand final, and you guys said Team Heretics, but there has been a crowd favorite curse in this arena in Shanghai because Lev, they got knocked out. The crowd loved them. EDG, Fnatic, Mimi, do you think Heretics are going to fall to the curse?
I mean, every CN team is gone. Fnatic is gone. There is a
Vaporex.
little bit of a curse. But I think at this point, they've broken the curse by winning yesterday. I don't believe in the curse anymore. I think that it would be fair to say that Team Heretics might even be a little bit favored here. If we get deeper into this map, I think that they have been playing really high-level Valorant throughout this. But for me, everything about today comes back to the mental. They've let 2 games slip against G2. They need to beat the choker allegations today, to be quite honest.
I mean, it's tough to be able to bounce back from that. And also, that poll is so fitting, right? Another instance in which G2 is being doubted, where
I think
people
they do the
don't...
best when they're doubted, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, they want to be that underdog.
Do you know what? Did you doubt GT today? Because I have the talent predictions here, so I want to see if... Did
no,
you doubt them?
I think they can win today. I think they will win today.
Oh, look at you. You did. Actually, only you and Dre didn't doubt them. Mimi, why did you go for Heretics today? You didn't go for them yesterday.
Yes. So the reason I went for Team Heretics today is I think they proved a lot to me in that game against 100 Thieves. I think the prep work going in was really good. I think proving some great mental resiliency to close out that overtime on Bind as well. I think this team is in a position with a crowd behind them, with all the experience gained through this event. This is the one where they don't let that lead slip. And also, because in both those previous matches, they were ahead. They very well could have. You'd even say should have for the second match, won those games against G2.
I think on the other side, this is going to sound cheesy, lame, whatever, but this feels like this is G2's story to be written, right? And I go all the way back to Iceland. Up until this point, they revisit the international stage, riddled with doubt. This is the final thing they overcome before they play on Sunday.
Chills.
You like
I got chills. I actually got chills. I got chills. And with that in mind, it is time to find out how this trilogy will end. It is a rematch of a rematch, and this time it is a best of 5. G2 Esports versus Team Heretics. The final showdown in the lower bracket finals starts right here and right now.
This drone might get punished.
You swing on that surely, and then the Dizzy over the top of Bane, not able to steady the shots. And Rienz punishes. 3 remain. The Stingers looking for any success they could find. Off the swing, only 1 foul.
They fired up their arena. It was electric. It was special.
I've rarely seen so decisive of a win.
I think this is probably top 3 experiences of my life so far. We've practiced super hard to get where we are now.
Two side. There's close money up front. Nice try.
For G2, down but not yet out. Still a chance for them.
You know, we've got this rematch against G2 now.
So they say 3rd time's a charm. Do you believe that?
Time to win.
Even when we walked out today, hearing everyone cheer for us, I almost got like emotional.
I think a lot of people weren't sure if they'd make it out.
I didn't get picked up for franchising. No one thought I was good. I grinded my way up to this moment. Come on! I was just soaking it all in. It's more sweet when you earn it, man.
That was probably the craziest comeback I've seen.
We are just trying to do everything together. So we are just connected like family.
I just care about the guys around me. I want them to know that we can do this. If I was able to like prove it for them and see them happy, it would be the best feeling in the world.
I'm never looking at my enemies' names. I don't care who is the enemy. I'm destroying them.
Lower final, best of 5 versus Heretics. One of us got to go home. And it's not going to be us. I'm sorry.
Hey, G2. First time, you are stronger than us. Second time, we gave you a lot of chance. But this time, I want more. This time, like under Thieves, you're gonna just go home.
This is not the first time, not the second, but the 3rd time these 2 teams have played against each other, and G2 have always come out on top. But this time around, it feels like Heretics, however, are actually in championship form.
They look it. It's two miracle runs colliding here. A G2 that everyone doubted the entire time in this tournament, who's made it all the way to the top 3, versus a Team Heretics who's been playing with a sub and has made it better and better every match, trying to make it third time the charm.
Yeah, this is the thing, Doug. Trophies on the line here. What do you make of this map pool?
Yeah, I think a lot of it makes sense. There's sort of nothing really surprising. You get rid of Sunset, and for good reason, given what we saw, and then Ascent on the other side. It makes a ton of sense. One thing I very quickly want to say here, it's hard to beat a team twice in the same tournament. You get a download on your opponents, you know what their tendencies are, you understand conditioning and things of that nature. To do so a third time is monumental.
Especially in a BO5, where your map pool is really going to get tested, where those teams are going to have to go deep. For me, looking at this one, I think a lot of this game for G2 is going to rely on this bind. Team Heretics have looked great there. They beat 100 Thieves with their own comp. They managed to take down that win against Foot as well. But G2, one of the few teams to have beaten 100 Thieves on that map themselves. They've looked solid on it throughout the tournament. But if they lose there, then we go into an Icebox and a split where I feel like Team Heretics look pretty good.
Well, this is the thing that I'm concerned about. Both of these teams have never played an international BO5, and the most recent time Heretics did play a BO5 against Fnatic, they completely threw that away. They were 2-0 up, and they got reverse swept, so I'm a little bit worried about their mental in a match like this.
What's funny though, G2 hasn't played an international BO5 at a Masters or a Champions level tournament, but they won a BO5 at Ascension to even make it into the International League. These guys are no strangers to matches of this kind of pressure.
What do you think, Doug?
I think my eyes go towards the man who's hiding behind that monitor that just panned away. I think it's Valen because, again, when you're going into a best of 5, it is so much mental. We talked about this so many times at the desk already. The mental games that are going to be taking place, that's where the war will be won. Right? It's going to be won in who can win this war of attrition, who can stand tall when you're going to be faced with a pistol round that didn't go your way that was supposed to. You're going to get ecoed. There's going to be a thrifty that happens that shouldn't have happened. How do you respond?
Absolutely. And for Team Heretics as well, I think that's really what it's going to come down to. That mental, that resilience, how well they can stay alive in that BO5. Because this specific iteration of the team, with Patatech in, with Woot playing Duelist, this will be their first best out of 5. And we've seen them look great on some maps, but we've also seen them in the past crumble on maps like Split. So this is a real test for this squad.
No surprises here either, but like you guys said, it feels like both of these teams, they need a strong start right out the gate.
Yeah, but I don't want to see a fast start from either of these teams. If you peak on energy super high and you get pumped up, there's a serious crash on the other side of that when things start not going your way. So that's just something you have to be cautious about.
You absolutely do. Looking at these two comps, it's kind of the two biggest approaches we've seen to this map. The Fade Gecko, that stolen 100 Thieves comp, has looked great, but G2 knows how to play against it. They've beaten it before in Americas.
They have indeed, and they've beaten Heretics already twice in this.
Isang malupit na bakbakan naman ngayon na mapapanood natin after natin mapanood yung yesterday and the battle between G2 and Team Heretics. This time, pangatlong beses na nila maglalaban ngayon. Ay naman nag-listen to double, kasama ko ngayon si Taylor. And Taylor, kamusta?
Talaga, dun pa talaga sa last 30 seconds nangyari. Pero anyway, welcome nga pala sa Masters Shanghai dahil semifinals na ngayon, HG. Syempre, yung mga teams natin, seryosong bakbakan na to para sa kanilang lahat. Alam natin na nag-aantay yung Gen G, by the way, sa grand finale. Asia Pacific on top so far. Pero ito muna tayo. Dito muna tayo sa Bind dadalin.
Yan, best of 5 nga pala ito guys. Kaya naman makikita natin ngayon kung gaano ba kahaba ang araw natin. At the moment dahil bind ba naman ng unang lalaroin ng ating mga teams. G2 on the defense, wala pa namang isa na makikita ngayon ng Team Heretics. So, might as well secure in the site and plant in the spike.
Spike planted indeed. Post plant agad, malala para sa side ng Team Heretics dito. Pero Boo, waiting patiently onto the corner. 1-to-1 trade lang wala sa G2 at Heretics right now. Pero kailangan. And yung oras tumatakbo na para sa side ng G2 dito. Repossession malala para sa kanila all the way towards B long. Isa naman pagdating sa hookah. Tingnan natin paano nila makukuha to.
Kailangan pa nila tuloy hanapan at the moment dahil isa nakatago na nga sa loob ng shoe, pero sama-sama naman yung pwersa nila dito na biglang gagambala laban sa Team Heretics, pero hindi ito magwawagi. Isa-isa rin kaya kaagad sila tumamba dito kay Wood with a 3K. Pistol round, malinis lang sa Team Heretics.
Malinis lang. Naayos ko na, HG. Okay na.
Okay na.
Kinabit ko na siyang ulit ganun. Okay na. Okay na mga Lodi. Hindi na ako sanay no? Na iba yung camera ko. Anyway, itong first mga pistol round nga natin, diba? Gaya nga nasabi ng mga ating mga panelists, kailangan makakuha yung Team Heretics dito ng lahat ng early advantages as much as they can. Pangatlong beses na nila tong nagtatapat, and all this time, parating nakaka-comeback at nababalikan tong Team Heretics. So if they start off strong like this right now, maaaring mangyari yon. But look at this very, very slow play. Feeling ko yan yung mga mangyayari ngayong araw, yung mga slow plays na yan
Totoo, kahapon pa naman din kasi puro mga paamba, puro hawakan muna sa tenga pero wala muna talagang nangyayari pa. And this time, sa sobrang pag-overthink ng Team Heretics ngayon, walang katao-tao sa A site. At lahat naman ngayon ng G2 ay nandito sa B. Di naman nila alam na meron pa palang nakasingit. Veggie Fishy taking down Leaf at yun kaagad ang opening sana dito sa B pero wala siyang idea kung sino nga ba ang nag-aabang na sa kanya.
Oh, wow! What a flick! Wow! Okay, nakaisa pa siya doon kahit papano. Alam kong sure na mamamatay siya pero hindi sa ganung paraan na makakakuha pa siya ng isang kill bago mawala. And if you think about it, slow play na to. Lamang sila sa barrel as well. Mapipilitan yung G2 na syempre kumuha ng iba ring positioning dito and try to find those kills. But unfortunately, naubos yung tatlo sa kanila sa B site.
Dahil lang doon sa naging reaction time nga ni Benji Fishy, kahit may pagkakataon na sana sila dito makabawas laban sa Team Heretics. Now, makakagat pa kagad ang Prowler. Tulong sana na yon yung blind coming in from John P. Pero hindi magiging wagi. At least, they gave at least 2 casualty laban sa Heretics.
Yun nga, at least nakapatay sila dito. But again, value is value pagdating sa round na to. Grabe yung deep na pagkapasok dito ni Benji Fishy nang walang nakakaalam. Kahit si coach natawa na lang din na nakaabot siya doon. But at the end of the day, lugi sila sa barrel syempre. And when it comes to the guns itself, gaya na sinasabi natin, ito na yung buy round ng G2. Half armors para sa kanila or sa iba sa kanila.
Tingnan natin kung ano na nga ba ang pwede nilang tahakin at moment dahil katulad lang din ng mga nilaro kahapon ng Team Heretics dito sa Bind. Talaga mabagal lang muna yung gusto nilang maging tempo at the moment sa mga first few rounds bago sila talagang lalarga in the last 30 to 40 seconds na lang ng round. Tingnan natin kung meron na nga ba silang makukuha ang pwersa dito dahil Jonah P medyo gustong lumaban na nga dito kay Wood kahit papano.
Atras muna, lalo na may Mosh pang nakaabang dyan para sa kanila, but this dog will spot Wood kahit papano. This will force them out of his positioning, pero habang nangyayari ang lahat ng yan, distraction lang ata to si Wood for now dahil yung setup ay magmumula papuntang A site.
Dito sa A, tatlo pa naman yung nag-aabang. Tingnan natin kung magiging worth it ba yung mga utility na ibabato nila dahil kahit papaano, Team Heretics nakakuha na ng dalawa. Ready pa si Veggie Fishy kung sakali mo mag-pick na si Icy. Pero, nandito naman din yung distraction na mabibigay ka agad ni Wood all the way from up top going down below. Kaya naman ngayon, dadalawa na lang kaagad ang natitira sa buy round pa ng G2.
Crossfire has been set. Para sa mga players ng Team Heretics right now, it's just a patience game and finding the last few players of G2. Mukhang mako-convert pa ata nila yung bonus round dito ng isa lang yung nawawala dahil magsisave na lang dito si Jonah. And that's gonna be a quick 3-0 para sa kanilang side. A good, really good start para sa Team Heretics.
Linis lang din ang mga takes nila. And especially na ito na yung pangatlong beses na maglalaban sila ng G2. So, ibig sabihin, kahit papaano, they have the upper hand na napakalinis din ng mga nangyari nga yesterday. So, moving on forward onto this day, kailangan na lang nila siguro is consistency at wag magpangamba sa lahat ng mga pwedeng ibahin sa kanila ditong tempo ng G2.
Tempo, as it seems, yan ang hinahanap. Oh? Nakikinig tayo sa mga coach. Siyempre, ayan ang mga... Exactly. Nag-time out pala sila dito. Napaka-early nung time out na yan actually. And I mean, kung nasa semifinals ka, kahit best of 5 pa to, diba? As early as you can, kung alam mong meron ka ng kailangang ayusin mo na habang maaga pa.
Tutusin, ang hirap din kasi talaga kung early into the first half pa lang, magkaroon na ng ganitong klaseng lamang yung Team Heretics, diba? So, might as well use this timeout para magkaroon ng refresher for G2 and also break down the momentum na lang din for Heretics. Sa problema lang for the upcoming round is medyo force buy ang meron na lang din natitira sa eco ng G2.
Force buy. Pero feeling ko save round na naman ulit itong mga players ng G2. Pero kailangan din nilang mapilitang, alam mo, mapunish yung mga nagsashine na mga players dito para sa side ng Heretics. Kasi kung si Woot may 3-0 na rin, I mean, he's already on his way and paving his way dun sa momentum na hinahanap niya, especially as a race. And alam naman natin, kapag nag-pop off na si Woot, lahat na buong Team Heretics nasa likuran niya para saluhin kung ano man yung maiiwan niyang butas dito. Trash, available at mukhang gagamitin nila.
Kasama na lang din kaagad na Steam Beacon. Ang laking bagay nito, lalo na't mabilis ang pagpasok nila kaagad. Kung sakali man na hindi sila mangangamba sa mga utility na ibabato sa kanila dahil lahat ng smoke ngayon ay nilapag na. 4 halos ang nakalapag dito sa A site. Wala pa rin silang ni isa na makita. Pero tingnan natin kung ano bang magiging pwesa ngayon nila Trent dahil ipet sila all the way from the backside. Pero di pa naman dito fully secured ng Team Heretics yung site.
Crossfire pagdating sa showers, pero matatakpan din ng wall yan. Siyempre, courtesy ni Leaf all the way from B site. It's a quadra stack para sa mga players ng G2 dito on their low buy. Nag-aantay lang sila ng tamang timing, pero one hop out mula kay Trent and he gets the shot in. Punished dito si Benji Fishy. 1 man down para sa side ng Team Heretics, pero ito na ang oras para mag-plant ng spike.
Leave na lang din muna sila. Pero problema, nakaabang man si Leave pero mas ready naman si Riens sa kanya. This time, it's a 4v4 situation. Nakastay put pa rin naman yung Fade sa loob ng A-side. Pero look at that clean takes na mapupunta na naman sa Team Heretics. Another multi-kill para sa kanila. Dito, 4-0 na sabay.
Such a good split decision making mula sa side ng Heretics as well na mag-TP out and prepared din sila kung sakaling may tatapat, which is si Leaf nga na nag-iisa lang all the way from B. Aside from that, kung mapapansin mo, iniwan din nila si Patitech all the way to A para ma-cut off yung magiging rotation ng iba pang matitira pagdating sa A site dito. And it was just a good plan overall for Team Heretics. I think dahil sa daming beses ng pagtatapat nila, alam na rin nila yung playstyle ng isa't isa talaga.
Kumbaga, alam na nila kung kailan ba kikibo na nga ngayon ang G2. And speaking of G2, wala mo nang kibuan dahil nasalisihan sila ni Patitech nga na nagstay inside of A-side para makakuha ng pick-off laban kay Jonah. But at the meantime, it's always the same usual slow play para sa Heretics. At wala rin naman din kasi magpipick pa at the moment from G2.
Riens also really having a good timing pagdating doon sa mga utility play niya rin dito. The Dizzy always hits, always gets a kill. But look at this! Speaking of the Dizzy, mukhang tatama yung mga flashes sa mukha ng mga players ng Heretics right now as G2 punishes 2 pero may sagot dito si Woot!
Oh my God!
Double kill din para sa sarili niya. It's a 3v3.
Linis na nito ngayon dahil wala nang katao-tao nagbabantay sa loob ng B-site and they are free to plant in the spike. Ang kailangan na lang nilang intindihin ngayon is yung places kung saan pwede manggaling yung entry points coming in from the side of G2. At kung tutuusin, kahit papaano kakayanin na nila ito kung sakali man dahil look at the AoE na meron pa matitira for Wood. He still has the showstopper at magkasama pa rin naman playing together nga dito si Leaf at Valen.
If hindi nakakuha ng 2 kills dito si Woot, wala siyang showstopper plus 5 pa yung buhay sa players ng G2 pero hindi ganon yung scenario ngayon. Instead, baka makalamang pa sila pagdating sa post-plant nila dahil yung showstopper magpa-pop na. This will delay a lot of players as well pero mukhang nalabas nila all the way from long at si Patitech, the crossfire, every angle na pwede mong labasan at silipan, bantay sarado.
Ganda. Katulad na lang din ang ginagawa ng Team Heretics. Ginawa ng Team Heretics yesterday. This is exactly the same na mga nagiging scenario eh. After makakuha ng first initial kills, players from G2, hindi ibig sabihin na magiging easy round na lang kaagad ito para sa G2 dahil there are always some certain times katulad na lang nito that Wood can have the multi-kill at makakakuha na kaagad sila ng winning condition moving on forward for that round.
May special fist bump pa sila. Grabe naman. Talagang alam mong prepared. Pero double smoke ng Viper mukhang dalapag nila pareha sa B. Pero what a shot through the smoke. I mean, narinig mo yung orb. Alam mo saan manggagaling.
Tsaka usually, ito talaga yung kinukuhang space ni Jonah. So unfortunately for him, pre-fire na lang tuloy ang may isasagot sa kanya. We still have here the smoke and the Viper split naman, or rather, yung wall nga ng isang Viper na naka-place down lang din inside of B. And after nila makakuha ng first initial pick, slow facing for Team Heretics, at feeling ko kahit papaano si Patitek aware sa positioning na kinokontrol na ng galing ng bats.
Tsaka, itong bilong kanina, lugi sila sa fight dito kung tutuusin yung flash off na nangyari a while ago. But this time, they try to recover it back, revert it back na hindi chamba yung nangyari pagdating dun sa round na yun. But nonetheless, it's a 4v4 scenario with very low buys coming in from G2 time and time again. Pasok na sina Wood sa loob ng site. Nakasetup na lahat ng pwede mong isetup dito para sa magiging plant ng spike nila. Pero wala pa silang nakikita. Hookah daw.
Oh no.
Spray down malala.
Abangers ng matindi si Patitek talaga kanina, and that is going to be enough. 6-0 sa lower bracket final natin, Tay. And ibig sabihin lang nito, talagang much more stronger na yung naging growth mismo ng Team Heretics. Kahit 2 beses na sila natalo from G2 nung mga nakaraan na laban nila here on Masters Shanghai. Ito na rin kaagad yung nakikita natin. They're just ready at naamoy nila na kakayanin nila lang mambahin itong players ng G2.
Pero kung hindi dapat nila bibigyan ng space tong G2 dahil isa to sa mga team na pagdating sa comeback, yung iniisip mong imposible, nagagawa pa rin nilang posible. And they've made a lot of comebacks. But again, Team Heretics this year, wala pa silang natatalong overtime HG. Entry na naman pagdating sa A side mula sa Team Heretics side. Dogging pagdating sa showers mula doon naman all the way to B. Mukhang iipitin ata nila. Yun ata ang magiging play dito. And it starts off with the Seekers na makikita natin ngayon. And boom! Naku, mawawala na.
Nagulat siya sa showstopper na lalabas sa kanya ni Icy. Rian naman dito para makapuwersa pabalik. Pero unfortunately for them, multi-kill ang mapupunta na nga kaagad kay Val. And it's all up to Patitek. And ang problema niya dito, paano niya iisa-isahin? Lalo na't alam na kung saan siya nakapwesto pa.
Gandang retake scenario para sa side ng G2 dito. I think they figure out na kailangan nilang mabawi yung showers control para makuha yung retake. Hindi posibleng manggaling lang sila talaga sa CT side. Plus dalawa pa sila doon, the Raze plus the Sky combination as well. It helps a lot dahil kaya mong i-set up yung Raze mo sa flashes, sa dog, and sa ibang utility play pa habang may satchel in play. And that's just allowed to create a space. Lalo na kung may showstopper ka pa, diba? Parang wala nang takas.
Parang ang problema ko lang dito for G2 is ang dami nilang in-exhaust na ultimate for just that round. 3 halos. We had the Trash, we had the Seekers, and even have the Orbital Strike. Pero at least a round is a round. Kailangan na nila magkaroon ng desperate attempts kahit papaano. But with those desperate attempts, dapat maging disciplined pa rin naman sila dahil the meantime, still on the lead ang Team Heretics.
Minsan, isang round lang yung kailangan mong spark off. Ika nga, para mabawi yung momentum. And momentum yung exactly kailangan nila. Kasi sunod-sunod na talo dito na rounds, syempre, pagdating sa economy, kahit doon, hindi sila makukuha ng momentum at all. And this time, at least, meron silang cushion, kumbaga, pagdating sa economy.
Slow pace na naman talaga, Team Heretics kasi walang nakita na kahit na sino from bats as they usually pick kung saan laging nanggagaling sina Valen or Leaf. But this time, they're playing this safely dahil alam nilang utility-wise, mahihirapan silang harapin kaagad si Riens. Now holding all the way from Lamps dito ngayon si Trent. Pero at the meantime kasi nakaabang na yung Orbital Strike. So this is such a great opening for Heretics to force back G2 from defending in A side.
Meron pong nakagat yung Prowler. They know there's someone close. At si Woot nakaabang na. Once na mawala yung smoke, yung C's, hindi magkoconnect. Nakita niyang walang lubid. Pero yung mga flashes, yung molly, yan ang magkoconnect. Nakaramdam ang G2 dito. Dizzy also finding some targets pagdating sa heaven control nila. But this is still a 5v4 retake scenario para sa side ng G2 ngayon. Patitech, may haunt pa siya available.
Oh, Reigns naman ngayon, makikipag-duel. Pero ang problema, nawo-wallbang siya. Pero hindi na daw niya problema yan dahil tatlo na ang bumaksak sa mga bala niya. Iisa na lang kaagad ang natitira. Save na lang ang operator, kumbaga. Pero Icy, problema
siya.
niya, tatlo ang maghahanap sa kanya. At ang makakaisa pa nga si Icy at the moment. Hindi lang na-save yung operator para sa next round nila.
That's about the round na nakita natin dito. And makikita mo talaga para sa Team Heretics, no? Alam nila yung trabaho nilang gawin. Reigns doesn't really mind that the wingman is defusing kasi alam niya yung focus dapat syempre dun sa makakatapat niya sa kalaban nila. Naging distraction lang to para sa kanila. But then, the angles, they have covered everything. 7-1. Team Heretics, tuloy-tuloy yung momentum na meron sila.
Grabe talaga. It's a stump, no? Dahil G2 ngayon, hindi talaga nila mahanap yung exact timing kung ilalaban ba nila mismo yung site. Harap-harapan ba nilang sasaluhin yung mga blinds ni Riens? Dahil sabi nga natin earlier on, laging on point yung paggamit niya ng DC para ma-assist niya palagi ang pag-entry ni Wood. And speaking of entries, sabi nga natin earlier on, is they're just going to waste at least couple of seconds muna bago pa muna sila pumasok dito. Exhaust lang ng mga utility and now, duel nga ba ang ihandog ngayon sa atin nila Jonathan?
Alam nila na maraming flashes, kaya inaambahan nila, inuubos nila yung utility play. I feel like this is gonna be the Nightfall coming in. And tatlo yung natag dito, oo, pero yung trash ready na ulit at nahanap ni Jonah P. kahit paano yung first kill, the second even, connecting perfectly onto the head. Bumabalik na yung buhay niya, yung decay! Wala siyang pake, wala siyang marinig, pero nakukuha niya pa rin yung mga kills! Oh my God! The 4 kills settling in for Jonah P. And the last one for the ace, kay Leaf pa mapupunta. The kill? No!
Okay lang na walang ace at least secured na daw yung round na ito. Napaka-tender ng round na nangyari na yun, ano? Dahil akala ba naman natin is, eto na yung exact round na naman na kung tutuusin, may iipit ng tuluyan doon si Jonah P. But then again, he took advantage na vulnerable halos ang mga tumawid dito sa garden. Kaya naman ngayon, he just stood his ground, compose himself further, and expect na tatlo, apat yung magpipick sa kanya from garden.
I mean, you have the Viper wall. Alam mong hindi agad makakatawid ng basta-basta to. Kahit na nightfall ka pa, wala kang marinig. At the end of the day, wala pa sila sa loob ng site to really make sure na ma-fulfill nila yung lahat ng pwede mong gawin around that utility play. Unfortunately, that round didn't work out for Team Heretics and baka malay natin, dito nagsisimula yung G2 comeback na kilala sila for. So, baka ito na yun.
Yun pa naman ang ginawa nila sa Gen G yesterday, ano, na parang 7-0 na yun, pero nahabol pa rin nila ang Gen G to the first half with the 7-5, tapos umabot na ng second half na naging 8-8 pa dahil G2 nakakuha ng comeback, ibalik nila yung momentum into their favor at napatunayan nila kahit paano na kaya nilang mai-comeback na ito. Pero ang problema kasi this time is Team Heretics sagana pa rin pagdating sa eco eh. Tingnan mo naman ang comparison nila. G2 at the moment half armors lang ngayon for Trent and Icy.
Hindi rin nila matawid itong bilong agad-agad. Ito yung 2 rounds na nakuha ng G2 from them. And ang hirap kasi tapatan ng combination eh. Meron kang Viper Wall, meron kang Flash ni Sky, meron ka pang Gecko na nagpa-flash. Pero yung lipat dito ni Trent is all the way to A site instead. Walang paramdam pagdating sa B. Instead, pasok na sila pagdating sa A. At yung iba, yung dalawa, naglo-lurk pa sa bilong.
Pagkatapos nilang i-exhaust yung utility ng G2, this is a good timing already para pumasok na rin kaagad in B. Aware na aware sila sa positioning ulit na hinuhold ni Jonah P. Pero unfortunately, hindi sila ready doon sa trade na ginawa ng ni Leaf. Dalawa ang nawala sa side ng Team Heretics. Dadagdagan pa ng isa, pero at least na-plant na nila yung spike. At yung dalawang ito, magpa-play it together na lang dito sa loob mismo ng B side.
They know the play. I see. Wala yung Dizzy na shutdown niya agad-agad. Pero again, it's a crossfire bin set. Si Leaf may magandang pwestuhan dito kung sakasakali man. Alam din nila na mukhang manggagaling na to sa hookah. Pero ang daming nades, ang daming mollies coming in. 32 HP! Patty Tech secures that kill! Double headshot! At isa na lang ang natitira si Leaf na nanggaling sa hookah.
Every after the timeouts, laging Heretics talaga ang secure na makakakuha ng panalo. And what was that? We anticipated such a great comeback, such a great retake para sa G2. But unfortunately, dahil lang dito sa pagkakataon na nag-pick sa kanila si Patitech, now or never kind of thing ito eh. And yun nga, yun pala, nag-line up sila at ang bilis ang mga pangyayari for Patitech was able to secure the 3K.
Wow, what a shot. I mean, ang daming highlights na ganito yung scenario ng dalawang teams na to kasi mahilig sila mag-trade off each other. Pero sometimes, it goes the other way around na magla-line up nga itong mga players natin. Happens to the best of us, but we are on to an 8-2 scoreline. Kung gusto ng G2 na hindi mapahirap ang buhay nila, a minimum of an 8-4 wouldn't be too bad for them. Seekers available, but other than that, nothing else.
Malagbag na naman ang eksenang gagawin nila dito sa bats since we have the smoke already placed in na hold back tuloy ang forces na pwede nga sanang i-push dito sa bats. Pero as the usual, Team Heretics, wala pa silang makita na kahit na sino dahil hindi rin naman talaga sila ipipick ng G2. Unfortunately for Valen, immediately naman siya na take out sa moment na napinik niya si Wood.
Planting na tayo ng spike dito. IC repositioning himself. Flash settling in. Bulag na bulag siya. Wala siyang nakita at all. Pero si Trent, nakadalawa na. Wood on the other hand, the savior of the team. Team Heretics right now. Showstopper ready para sa kanila. Lahat nagtatago. And wala pang nagpapakita. Habang si Leaf naman, todo lurk pa rin dito. Wood successfully taking down IC. And the last guy, which is si Leaf, nakita na. Hindi pa tumama. Give him the ace. Yan ang sigaw nila.
Oh my God, what a half, what a game, what a play para sa Team Heretics. They already knew na hindi nila mapupush out ng basta-basta etong bats. Kaya naman inintay nila mawala yung smoke, inintay nila pumulit pa ngayon si Valen. Although there was a moment of highlight sana kay Trent, immediately taken off guard kaagad sila dito dahil ang bilis ng sagot ni Wood.
Wow.
When it comes to the trade-offs, when it comes to being a responsible player para sa kanilang team na magkakasama sila paragi for the trades and the follow-ups.
He's hyped. Online na online dito mga players ng Heretics right now. One more round to play pagdating sa first half na to. Yung wall nakataas na rin. But the Prowler gives info kahit pa paano. Hindi gumagapang yung tatlo sa mga members nila. Dalawa na yung nawawala para sa G2 side. Wala silang pera. That's why they have to play close. And they lost 3 players already.
Bilis ang mga pangyayari. And unfortunately, on this final round for this half, mukhang pahirapan pa kung makakaisa ang players from G2 all down to Leaf and Jonah. Mamabahan pa kaagad. Marked off na kaagad ni Benji Fishy. Quick as his trigger. It's all up to Jonah. He still has the blinds pero kasi problema 3, 4 nakaabang sa kanya.
Close to impossible with a stinger. Baka ma-knife pa siya. Oh no. Oh no!
Oh my God!
Wild!
Ang daya ng crowd kasi nag-cheer na kaagad
humarap.
sila.
Kinabahan eh. Nakaramdam eh. But it's a 9-3. At dito mo makikita na importante talaga na makuha mo yung momentum kahit pa paano or mabawi mo yung mga rounds dahil kung economy-wise, luging-lugi ka, wala kang choice, dito ka mapupunta. Yung last round mo na sana gusto mong makabawi, hindi ka magkakaroon ng full buy at all and napakahirap makapag-retake ng ganon.
First half in the first game, 2-10 para pabor para sa Team Heretics at mukhang ang layo na pwedeng gagapangin na G2 para magkaroon ng comeback and equalize this much further. Pero hindi naman din imposible. Sabi nga natin na they are kings of comeback so might as well do this in the first game pa lang. But then again, this is a best of 5. So they can just give away the map kung sakali man. Pero I doubt naggugustuhin ng G2 na mangyari yun dahil furthermore, Team Heretics, makukuha ka agad yung momentum na yun, makukuha ka agad yung advantage na yun para manalo laban sa G2.
Para dito sa map pick, syempre na meron tayo, I mean, it was G2 who actually picked Bind, by the way, na itong mapa na to was supposed to be a map that they're gonna play in their favor, pero mukhang hindi ganun yung scenario. At the same time, kung tutuusin, sa attacking side pa yon ng Heretics, diba? It was unstoppable at some point, at some degree, yung mga flashes dito na pinaprepare ng Heretics. Ganun din para sa side ng G2, yung play nila pagdating sa bilong. Pero kapag mag-A sila, parating walang sagot.
Lagi silang na-force back eh. Kumbaga, sa mga utilities pa lang, we had the mollies, we had the snake bites as well. And it was already enough para hindi tuluyang ilaban ng G2 yung space. At huli na lang lahat para sa kanila. Retake, yes. Still a good possibility. Pero we saw earlier, one round na naipanalo ng G2 kanina. And it was because tatlo ang utility ultimate pala na may available sa kanila. So, what can they do kapag wala na silang ultimate, diba? So, now, so hard to see kung paano ba ang comeback ng team, ng G2. Pero they can still do it at least para sa pistol round na ito. It starts with the pistol round talaga for this half.
A very important pistol to win. Sabi nga dito ni HG at mo magkakaambahan pagdating sa showers. Agad-agad na smoked off ito. Any flasherist? Any flasherist out there? Naka-ready na si IC pagdating sa boombot niya. Mukhang sasabayan nila to at sasamahan, mapapaatras yung iba sa mga members ng TH. Pero at the same time, TH nga naman sila. Tamang hinala dahil papasok si Patty Tech. 1-to-1 trade though.
Tatlo ba naman kasi ang nakaabang na nga sa kanila. They still have wingman to plant the spike, but then again, ready pa sila sa magiging crossfire dahil mukhang sinumot ay hindi nga ready. But speaking of wood, there goes Boo as well para makasama na nga siya to go in for the pick-off, go in for the chase, and look at this guy! Proving us wrong. Akala pa naman din natin, akala ko pa man din, maiisahan, may ipit siya ng tuluyan ng G2.
Grabe mag-flick to kanina, parang number 1 pa lang. Gising na siya, kuya. Di ba? I mean, lahat ng pwede niyang mahanap na kalaban once na nalagay niya na yung crosshair sa ulo ng mga players na to. It's a done deal. Once they know exactly where you are located, saan man kayo nakapwesto, alam na agad nila kung paano nila iti-take advantage yung angle na yon with the rest of the remaining players out here. 16 kills, 5 deaths. What, by the way? Force by tuloy.
Oo. Ang hirap nito kung sakali mamatalo pa ang G2. Lalo na, again, ang nagbabantay lang din naman na sa dito ngayon sa B-side is none other than Benjifish. And we all know this guy, what an anchor he is. Kasama niya ba nga si Rian. So, laking bagay nito, laking impact nito kung sakali man. They have the Dizzy, they have the Mollies. So now they have to be ready for the 4-man push from G2.
Set up. The Dizzy immediately shut down. Pero this gives info na alam nila, naka-stingers tong mga players dito ng G2. It's a buy round, it's a force buy para sa kanila. And they have to win this or else wala silang pera para sa susunod. Kumbaga, magiging stingers na naman yun. TP? Oh. Naku, pupulot.
Habang pa naman. To another time, sana napulutin nga. They're just some kind of flaws talaga na hindi mo rin mapapansin na e-execute na rin pala dito ng mga players, ano? Dahil at the meantime, most likely din kasi talaga after that sound cue from the TV is may mag-aabang na, may magbabantay na kaagad kung sakali mang tutuluyan na nga nila yung A side. But now with that wall, sige enough, at least makakapasok sila in lands. Pero how far can they go? Lalo na't ngayon, namambahan, nakita na kaagad sila ni Boo.
Sa palang yung nakikita nila though, with 10 seconds remaining to plant a spike right now, Leaf umiikot na, umaamba na, nakaabang when it comes to showers. He takes one down, that's gonna be wood na mainit na, pero ang daming lumilipad na ligaw na bala dito para sa side ng G2 ngayon. Laban kung laban para sa kanila, but it's still a 4v4.
Buhay pa si Boo, pero mukhang nabati ata natin ngayon. Mabilis naman din na umi-exile na si Nariens. Mabilis din naman yung pag-wise swing na Benjifish. We're down to a 2v3 situation. Benjifish is low on HP currently, pero at least
diffuse na si Wingman.
Dahil nag-defuse na nga ang Wingman ngayon. Mapipigilan nga ba? And yes, it will. Patitech naman with a Guardian, medyo makatiran din to, pero at least alam niya na kung saan magtatago pa si Jonah. Na half pa yung spike and it is already enough time para sa Team Heretics makuha yung match point nila.
I mean, they still played it super safe at the end of the day. Alam nga nila kasing naka-stingers eh. So alam nila na close range angle, syempre, doon lalamang yung mga players dito ng G2. They tried to play it inside the smokes. Leaf was a little bit successful on that, yes. But then again, si Wingman na half niya yung spike. This gives a lot of time for Patitech to really make a way and matakot pa yung kalaban niya kahit 7 HP. 7 HP na lang yung natitira para sa kanya dito. It's a match point for Team Heretics. No upgrades aside from, syempre may mga outlaw na tayo. Pati dalawang judge. Ang sakit nito kapag pumasok ka tapos judge makakasalubong mo ng half armor.
Hindi pa naman ito yung usual na gun na binibili nga ng Team Heretics kanina. Nice blind though. Coming in from the DC, makakaisa pa rin naman si Benji Fishy dahil sa comparison nga ng kanilang mga guns ngayon, mas mananalo sa duel na yon ang G2. Pero kung mas malapit man lang din si Riens kanina, nako, iilan din. Ang dami rin siguro ang babantay sa kanila. But that smoke, wala tuloy makita si Boo. Patitech though, makakakuha naman kaagad ng trade. Dahil sa kate naman ng Guardian na meron siya, kahit papaano, may laban pa naman sila. Laban sa tatlo na natitira from G2.
Daming Ekoms. Sabi nga nila, mamaya nakangiti na siya. What? Grabe naman si Wood. Alam niya na. One elbow, guys. Oh my goodness.
God.
Showstopper to finish off. Yes. What a player. Wood. Performance. I mean, this is his show at the end of it. Wild.
It is. Game number 1 kaagad ang napunta. Ganon-ganon lang. Kakasimula lang natin ng 3. Hindi man tayo umabot ng 4. Pero look at that. Because of the performance ni Wood, parang it was Wood's map nga kung tutuusin eh.
It was Wood's map. It was the Wood show at the end of the day. The setups coming in from the rest of the players, but you have to give it to him. Yung map awareness niya dito, each and every time na parang bibigyan mo siya ng info, there's always value when it comes to that round. There's always value with every information that the rest of the team gives. Kailangan mang magandang reset ng G2 dito dahil they officially lost the first map which they picked. Na one-sided pa.
Oo.
Grabe. Pag ako, tayin mo lang HG.
Alam mo, dapat may fist bumps din tayo.
Oo nga eh. Buksan mo nga yung pinto. Ay, malayo ka pala. Fist bump na lang ako dito. Grabe. I mean, this has been a pretty interesting, entertaining show para sa ating lahat dito. Kanya-kanyang highlights. Ika nga, meron si Trent. Meron din ang iba sa mga players dito. But it's a Wood show at the end of it. Honestly, it was all set up for success para sa kanya. He's on point. Online na online ang lahat ng players ng Heretics dito. Game 1 pa lang yan ah.
Oo, game 1 pa lang yan sa best of 5 natin. Pero at least, masasabi natin na didikta na ng Team Heretics nga itong pacing ng game natin, ng series natin at the moment. Hindi man natin nakita na lubusan nagkaroon ng highlights si Riens kanina. But then again, it was Wood na nakapagbigay nga ng pag-a-amplify sa mga utilities. And also, again, commendable game number 1 para sa Team Heretics.
Mais na yung cam ko. Masaya-saya ko, di ba? Pero, yun na nga, game number 1, finally done. Ang tanong, paano magre-reset mentally as well? Itong mga players ng G2, that was a super one-sided match for a map you picked. It will hit you, you know? And, syempre, para sa mga teams na meron tayo dito right now, itong last 2 teams na to, it's a best of 5 oras ng mga comebacks, panahon ng mga comebacks, maaaring mangyari yun. Pero, who knows, diba? Siyempre, depende pa rin yan sa mga teams natin and sa mga players natin. But, nonetheless, itong series na to, HG, we're in for a lot of action.
Yep. Hindi syempre magpapahuli. Dapat na nga dito ang G2. But then again, that's just going to be it for our game number 1. I think this is a good call na para umabot na nga tayo for a break. Magbabalik kami ng ilang sandali. Haniglay si The Double E nga po pala kasama ko ngayon. Si Tay.
since the moment I met you. Please don't forget me when I'm down here. It's been a while since I hit the bottom. I'll sing my song. Come find me. Come find me. All these faces staring at me, getting closer to the sun. All these voices shouting at me, wish you'd never see me drown.
Hey guys, I'm standing here right now with Neil Zinio of Team Heretics. So congratulations on that first map. The team looked really, really good. I'm wondering, not a lot of teams get the chance to face off against the same team 3 times in the same tournament over the span of like a very short period of time. So how unique of an experience was that like for you as a coach and for the team overall?
Yeah, something I've never experienced before as a coach, especially on a stage this big. There's positives and negatives to it. Like, they know our game very well, we know their game very well. But for a coach, it's nice because we kind of understand how they're going to anti-strat us. So I think that's what worked well for us in Bind. Like, we kind of anti-stratted their anti-strat, and we kind of were in full control of the whole game. But I'm expecting much tougher games in the next couple of maps. So yeah, if we can learn anything from the last series, it's not over till it's over. So we just need to keep going.
More mind games to come, right? Good luck.
Well, the win streak continues for Team Heretics. It's a fantastic start in this lower bracket finals. I'm your host, Yingsun. I'm back here once again with Doug and Mimi. There was no comeback there. Heretics, they were just the better team on that map.
Yeah, I mean, they've looked great in their map ones throughout all the previous iterations of this matchup, but this one was something special. They came out and looked absolutely incredible. I'm such a big fan of the way that they're implementing this 100 Thieves comp. I think the coordination is on point. The way they set Woot up for success is fantastic. And for G2, it's another one of these slow starts. It seems like every game they're going down 6 rounds in a row.
The script writers are getting lazy.
Yeah.
But I do think, given what we just saw in the first map, it feels like the outcome very well could be different. And yeah, it's a marathon. You know, we talked about those things, but the way that Woot performed, the kid is the truth. This is ridiculous what he did on that stage.
And this is kind of what I think Neil was talking about, right? With how they're kind of adding an extra layer to the anti-strat. And the way in which they're in their post plans, they played super proactively to fight back site and were really disruptive to G2's game plan. Generally, this comp plays out using your nades and your mollies to full stall the plant when you're on A. But I think Team Heretics did a great job of finding the right timings to go for these deep fights and using their second cycle of utility from their initiators really, really well to stop G2 from playing into those retakes that they're really good at. And it was rounds like these that got that ball rolling and built them such a dominant half.
Yeah, it's just so tough when you get all of those advantages early on. You know, you're hitting a second cycle of utility, you're playing that part of the game perfectly, and then you have 3Ks, and then you have 4Ks, and then you have aces, and when you're clicking on all cylinders like that, it's miserable to try to overcome. There was no opportunity for a comeback there whatsoever.
And every single one of those multi-kills you just mentioned basically came from Woot. So let's take a look for the our HyperX Reflect moment of the day. It could have gone to like 50 rounds that Woot was involved in, but this was crazy.
This was one of the most ridiculous ridiculous just rounds from a player I've seen. He doubles back, flicks on the second player twice here. Then he's ready out of the smoke, split second, kills one guy, and then he has his aim perfectly pre-fired to go for the guy on bench. It's such a showcase of how good this kid's game sense is, how incredible his aim is, and also you see how well he's playing with his team. He had a flash into backside there. There's another layer where they're swinging together front side. Everything is working for Team Heretics, and so much comes down to this phenom.
I mean, you can count on one hand the amount of bullets he missed in that clip. It was ridiculous. The last one was the most impressive. It's unreal. And again, when you're in the face of that type of performance, what do?
I mean, this is the other thing, right? We talk about how Parate came in as a stand-in. Vert had to move his role. Miniboo was already a world-class duelist, and dare I say it, is Vert better than Miniboo?
I just got messages from a couple of friends after that map. They're like, is Woot the best duelist in the world? And right now, the answer looks like a resounding yes.
His form is impeccable this tournament. Although I feel like no matter the role he is playing, it's just his pure mechanics that are the most impressive to me.
Yeah, he could do anything, it feels like. But let's talk about the next map, because you heard it from Neil. They did a lot of prep on Bind, because obviously they had to go up against 100 Thieves as well, and they anti-stratted the anti-strat. But what about Icebox? How is this going to shape out to be?
Yeah, last time we saw this one play out, G2 kind of took this, or excuse me, Team Heretics took this home 13-7. G2's been struggling a little bit on Icebox. They were initially playing that Harbor comp with the Gecko and Sova that they played throughout Americas, and then they experimented with switching that Harbor out for a Sage, which I do think is a good comp, but it looked a little bit shaky. They're 0-2 on it thus far. And with this Team Heretics team having so much confidence off that map 1 win, having beaten them last time, this feels like the perfect recipe to go up 2-0 in a best of 5.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think the one maybe benefit, if we're looking for a silver lining or something that we can kind of dial in on to inject a little bit of hope into the situation, because it looks dire, to be perfectly clear, is that when you get beat 13-2, you just have to move on, right? Like, there's not one thing you can point to. There's not somebody who underperformed. So many things went wrong there, you just kind of wash it off and go, all right, that happened, yes, but we just move on.
And G2 has proven to be good at it. I imagine Valorant back with the boys right now ahead of this second map, getting everyone reset. They know they're a comeback team now. I think the mental has to be good going into this second map, but looking at the history, it is going to be a challenge to win this one for G2.
It is indeed, but I also need Heretics not just to win this one, but I need them to close it out on Lotus. I do not want to see a situation where they give G2 an opportunity to come back.
And so you were telling me, this is the team who lost to the first ever reverse sweep in the EMEA region. It was the first time in any best of 5 from that region, and Fnatic stole it from them. Last time these two teams played, it got stolen from them. The game is not over until they have 3 map wins. It's just that. You can't count G2 out.
Yeah, and I think you heard Nilzinho say the exact same thing. And I think that's important. As you're kind of getting through this, as you're navigating this best of 5, that has to be the message. We saw it last time we played these guys. It's not over until it's over. And I think for Heretics, there's a lot to feel good about here.
Okay, so they're going back to the Harbor comp, which I do like. I think they look great on this throughout Americas. I love the way that the Sova and the Gecko combine, especially on their attacking sides. I think
Harbor plus the Gecko, yan ang makikita natin para sa side ng G2 dahil game number 2 na, literal G2 ang meron tayo dito, HG.
Ay, Team Heretics, itutuloy na nga ba kung paano nila binalogbag ang G2 kanina in game number 1? Hindi man natin napanood ang kahit anong Icebox map yesterday, but this time, this is a good opportunity para maipahiwatig ngayon ng G2 that there's still the comeback that can potentially happen into their favor. Lalo na ang wala silang duwala sa the moment para sa kanila. We have a double controller setup pero walang kahit anong entries na pwede natin makita dito as a mobility agent sa kanilang team.
It's gonna be a setup play more like it para dito sa team na to. And I mean, you have a Cove, Wingman, ang dami mong pwedeng ma-execute mula doon sa utility play na makaka-clear ka ng angles kahit papano as well. So, let's see. I mean, pagdating naman sa Icebox as well, diba? Yan naman yung nakikita rin natin madalas na mangyari. Or ito yung mga mapa na nakikita natin, walang duelist minsan. So let's see kung paano nga ba nila matuturn around to. At guys, gaya nga ng sabi ng panel kanina, they have to have a good reset. There's nothing much you could do dun sa first game na online talaga lahat ng Heretics. But a good mental reset, yan yung kailangan ngayon ng G2 to really make a good comeback pagdating sa mga series na ganito.
Wala pa naman din sa ano ngayon, sa Gecko ngayon si Rian. So wala masyadong magiging util na kakatapatin nga ang G2 bukod na lang din sa mga flashes and knives coming in from Patatech. Pero we're just hoping for the best para sa G2 na ngayon na at least itong pistol round para makapanimula lang din ng panibagong game, ng panibagong momentum para sa kanilang game at this point. And as they moving forward here on B, mukhang pwede silang makapasok lang din immediately dahil nagbabakaway lang kaagad sina Patatech.
Play for retake scenario. Hindi nila mabaril yung wingman though. So, planted na yung spike natin para sa side ng G2. And quickly, as it seems as well. At maagang nabawasan si Rians dito. Naging 27 HP siya simula pa lang nung round natin. And when it comes to this post plant, malaking bagay yung magiging utility play nila. Dizzy connecting perfectly pagdating kay Wood. And he doesn't connect his shot. Instead, si Patatech ang makakahanap ng isa dito. Kaliwat kanan may kalaban na pistol hitting each other. Pero 3v1 with Boo, 40 HP.
Oh no. Tatlo pa man din na ang nakaabang all the way from that corner, all the way from a distance. So unfortunately for Jonah, or rather kay Boo, wala na rin siyang naging bawi doon. He was vulnerable. So finally, 8 pistol round na mapupunta na ngayon for G2.
Ang bilis din nilang na-take yung B actually dahil nga sobrang lalim ng mga angle na hinahawakan ng Heretics dito. They were playing out mid control, mababa yung HP pagdating kay Sova. I mean, sa dami nung smoke, minsan it's just about will you hit your shot, lalo na sa mga ganitong klaseng pistol round kung saan one tap to the head when it comes to a ghost. Ang daming possibilities.
At least we can say na pwede na mag-escalate to moving on forward for G2. Pero as we move in forward sa round na ito, Wood together with Patatech, let's see kung magiging worth it nga ba itong pag-push nila ng space na ito habang nakalurk lang din naman sa Leaf. The meantime, habang nangyayari yung lurks na ito, habang nagsistay put lang din naman si Narians and Wood all together, meron naman din nangyayaring eksena going in B-side.
Heavily aware. Dito si Leaf, ang daming nakaabang para lang sa kill na to. On that lurk, at least they find value. I mean, pagdating sa round na to, a kill is still a kill, lalo na kung wala kang arep. Pero at the same time, they go deeper pagdating sa Snowman as well. They wanna take up space. Instead, Boo, shots down Icy here. May isa pa ba? Meron pang susunod, pero maraming nakita si Valen doon. Mapapaatras na lang sila playing their post plant positions.
Wala pa sila nakukuha ng free upgrades onto the guns dahil masyado pang malayo na nga. We only have the classic over here para nga sa side ng Team Heretics. Pero as we can see, magmumulaman sila all the way from up top. Oh, huli pa rin naman ni Wood dito dahil he has the Bulldog. Now, trying to win out the clutch. Still going up to Trent pero hinahabol na kaagad siya ngayon ni Rians. Ang problema, the time is already ticking. The damage has been done though. Kahit may panalo ito ng G2, maganda naman yung panimula ng round later on ng Team Heretics.
Kailangan makuha ni Boo yung, ni Wood rather, yung kill na yun kung gusto nila manalo sa round na yun. Pero, at the same time, kung iisipin mo, that was a round na lamang. Yung G2 sa barrel, may upgrade pa sila pagdating sa isang Phantom. Pero isa lang ang natira sa kanila at si Trent yon. So value found mula sa side ng G2. Pagdating sa plant, oo, nandun sila, nanalo rin sila sa round. But Team Heretics did a lot of damage to consider.
Now going in A, different story, especially B, lagi yung pinapamunuhan na nga ng G2. But with that Paul, this creates such an opening para hindi kaagad maging ready yung Heretics kung sakali na maging aggressive sila onto their pushes. But waiting patiently, Heretics at the meantime, muulan lang ng mga swarm grenade though, pero wala pa rin namang nakikita. Patatech, going in with a free fire. Stingers lang ang hawak muna most of the players of G2. Napigilan si Wingman, Patatech for a kill, Valen for a trade.
Ang daming trades after trades. It's still a 3v3 at the end of it. Riens, on the other hand, naganda ng posisyon niya. Through the side of Rafters, si Boo naman nagra-wrap around na pagdating sa screens. A good angle to cover. And that's Valen to go down. Icy. Kita rin ata siya sa drone dun. Nalaman din ata nila.
Iwan pa yung spike. So what more can he do but just go around and hope for the best na hindi siya maabangan kaagad ni Boo at mapanalo niya nga yung duel na ito. But Boo just wisely backing off para at least mababay time muna. May exhaust muna ni IC yung time and nakaalalay na nga kaagad si Rian sa kanya all the way from the back.
Can he isolate the fights though? Dahil mukhang sa side ng Team Heretics, alam nila na they should double up and maybe give this space to plant. Wouldn't mind that. Ang importante makuha nila yung trade. Yun na lang ang tinitignan nila dito right now. Icy to position himself closer. Gusto niya makakuha ng 1v1 scenario dito. Up top, nakita pa siya ng Recon. He has to reposition himself. Down below, tamang mind games lang para sa tatlong players ngayon.
Hindi pa muna sila magkakahanapan dahil at least narinig na nga kaagad ni Icy. Unfortunately, hindi naman naging ready si Rian. So no! Hindi niya pa nailabas fully si Trash, and that is enough time for Rians na mahabol na nga siya. Finally, a round for Team Heretics, pero ang gastos pa rin nun para sa kanila.
Isolate niya sana yung fights. Unfortunately,
lapit pala.
Nagamit niya pa yung Trash. So wala siyang ult coming into the next rounds here. They lost the round as well. They were able to plant the spike kahit papano. And to consider, this was a bonus round for them, diba? So nakita mo naman yung mga baril nila kanina, lalo na coming out of a match or a round na kung saan naubos talaga sila completely. Nakuha naman nila yung value. Isa na lang din yung natira para sa Team Heretics side. But, syempre, dito magkakaalaman sa mga susunod na rounds kung saan pantay-pantay na kahit papano yung mga baril.
Oo nga eh. Pare-parehas silang mga naka-half armor na lang din. At the meantime, dahil mas gumagana nga yung B pushes nila, why not go back at the same scenario and this time split onto the push? Problema na lang nilang kakailangan ng harapin is si Vengefishi din naman yung nag-aabang here on mid. Nagtawag na rin naman ng tropa. But now, as we go in with the jump pick, ganda nito dahil at least they're anticipating the pushes and they're forcing back players from G2 na hindi na muna magbaka sakali pa going into kitchen.
Hoy, maganda yung angle ni Woot dito kung sakasakali man. Can catch players off guard here, napapunta sa kanya. Pero alam niya ba na marami to? 4 na players, kaya niya bang makuha yung kill? If the timing is just perfect, kung 4 silang magpupush dito ng sabay-sabay, hindi niya makukuha kahit isa. Bah!
Quick reaction time din kasi mabibigay sa atin ngayon nila Valen. Pero yun nga, sobrang sayang nun kung sakali man na on the way palang papasok nga ng A. Itong G2, makakakuha siguro ng 2-3 si Wood. This time, Rians naman, makakapang-deny ng isa. But now, oh no, Vengefishi, mali ang na-check niya pa na corner ngayon.
Timing is real para sa side ng G2 dito. It's been working out so far for them. Pero ito na, yung Dizzy, hindi magkoconnect kay Boo actually at hindi siya nakita nito. Instead, Patty Tech also secures one with the Guardian, but Valen, they're just holding off the post plant here. Gusto lang nila delay. Yan lang ang goal para sa mga players na to. Pero hindi nila nakikita si Rian sa tuloy-tuloy mag-defuse. Si Boo, yung wall niya, napakalaking tulong. And that's the defuse coming in from Heretics side.
Oh, wow. Kahit napakabagal nilang makitungo pagdating sa retake nila, it still just goes to show na parang hinihimay-himay lang muna nila at the moment kung saan ba sila nakapwesto, kung paano ba yung mga do's and don'ts nila before nila tuluyan nga magkaroon ng opening to defuse in the spike. For example, is that we had one player, we had Boo earlier to secure in Belt's area para at least hindi sila makasagot once na ma-up niya pa yung wall na ito at makapag-defuse na nga kaagad sila ng spike. So now, great timing for Team Heretics. 2-2 na ngayon ang scoreline.
Nabayaran yung Dizzy. Isipin mo na lang kung flashed off si Boo doon. That was actually a good follow-up pagdating doon sa Dizzy na yon. Kaso nga lang, hindi siya na-flash. Dinaanan lang siya. Tumunog lang, ika nga. At masyadong mabilis yung positioning niya. And at the same time, walang pera ang G2. Ito muna ang meron sila. Stingers, 3. At si Woot, ready na magwala. Kaso nagkamali siya! Napindot! At si Leaf ang makakuha ng kill. And now, we are down to a 4v4 scenario.
Eh, paano? May laban pa rin na ang G2, they have the lockdown. But now, isa-isa naman sila. Pwede pang tumumba sa mga balang ni Patatech and Vengefishi. Masisira pa yung lockdown. And now, it's all up to Jonah. Kailangan niya pang i-pick up yung spike and crossfire na lang din ang ihandog sa atin ngayon ng dalawang magkasama na ito, si Rians. Just really hard to see kung paano ba ngayon magkaka-opening pa si Jonah kung sakali man.
Recon is there, Shutdown is there, walang utility play at all, and Jonah to be killed off para sa pangatlong puntos ng Team Heretics side. I think yung pagkaka-setup din nila ng lockdown doon, ginigauge nila na mag-push in agad-agad yung mga players ng Heretics, but that wasn't the reaction that they got. Instead, nag-move further away yung iba sa mga members dito, and isa lang yung really na nag-push out na successful pa dahil nga naman open na open din yung pagkakalapag ng lockdown doon.
Yeah. Could have been a chance for them para ma-force back na nga itong Team Heretics. But then again, yun nga, since aware naman sila na wala munang eco, just the force buys nga ito ng G2, nagbakasakali na rin kahit paano yung Heretics to push them back, to back them off mula sa A site at hindi na nga magpatuloy doon sa site na yun. But oh well, at least on that round, magkakaroon naman din ng panibagong eco ngayon yung G2. And let's hope for the best na maging pabor na ito sa kanila at the moment after this timeout.
Timeout. Ang hanap nila dito syempre is para sa susunod na round, makuha nila yung full value ng magiging buy nila dito. At para naman sa Team Heretics side, Hunter's Fury available na. Andyan yung Null Command, andyan din yung Viper Spit mula kay Boo. So there's really a lot of delaying factors mula sa Heretics side. And para sa G2 na alam naman nating walang duelist, kaya nga yung take natin dito, kahit yung retake scenario nila, medyo slow off eh. Kasi alam nilang puro setup ng utility play. Itong G2, yun yung panglaban nila sa post-plant. That's why A-main and the orb, after the orb control, importante yung space na yun.
So that's why din halos ine-exhaust na rin nila yung utility usage pa ng G2 before talaga sila pumasok, ano? Dahil yun nga yung iniisip ko eh. Bakit parang medyo nagte-take time pa yung Heretics? They're just making sure at least kahit papaano ma-take note nila kung ano na nga ba yung mga nagamit, kung ano na nga ba yung pwede pang mag-cooldown na nga na utility from G2. And speaking of G2, makikita pa sila out in the open dahil doon sa Owl Drone. And while we're at it, operator pala ang nasa kapay na ngayon ni Wood.
Oh no.
Huli ka pa.
Nahuli pa. Ang bilis. Hit and run mula kay Patitech dito. By the way, he's just a sub pagdating sa team na to, but he fits like a glove indeed.
Yeah.
Dahil sa mga nangyayari ngayon. And it's a 4v4. At least wala ng Hunter's Fury.
Bilis nang nakasagot for the trade, no? And now, sa bagal nga ng pakikitungo nila, mukhang magkakaabangan muna if pwede na nga bang mag-up yung wall, kung pwede na nga bang mag-execute ng wall then at the moment si Valen, or if
30 seconds left.
they will take time para makapag-rotate pa. Pero mukhang hindi na rin yata since again, we have the high tide, we have the cascade, we have Patitech on just one corner going over the triple kill bago siya matridan ni Trent. 2 naman na mapapatay ni Trent, but this time, waiting all the way from top side pa ngayon si Boo.
Oh my goodness, nakita niya yung isa pero hindi tumama yung shot. Ang importante, tatama kay Trent na may hawak ng spike. With 5 seconds remaining, Jonah P doesn't have a choice. It's not a fake, pero mapapatay pa rin siya dito for that last kill. Hanap orb, at least may orb daw. Tsaka may pera.
Oh.
Ang daming delay eh. Isipin mo, once na madaanan mo si Patitech, mapatay mo nga siya. Yung wall ng Viper aakyat. Di ka makadaan agad-agad. And then, mayroon pang snake bite dun sa A-main, sa left side. So, saan ka dadaan? There's only one spot at alam na nila kung saan exactly yon.
Hit and run nga talaga yung ginawa ni Patitech. Tapos, i-hold niya yung corner na ito. And then, yung pagbabantay lang din naman ni Boo, all the way from 2F pa, ay ang laking bagay din para at least magkaroon sila ng assistance when it comes to the crossfire. So, just good coordination play for their Heretics. And I don't know anymore kung ano pa ba pwede pang gawin ngayon ng G2. Especially na ito pa namang mapa na ito ay pinili nga ng Heretics.
The thing is, sa A site sila nag-take kanina. They have no idea na may operator simula kanina pa. This might be the shot that they're waiting for. Shutdown agad, yung dizzy na yan. Pero itong malaking wall na to, at least, maiiwasan, maaangasan nila kahit papaano. Si Woot, on the other hand, wala siyang pake. Pagdating sa snake bite, 34 HP nang walang nakuhang value mula sa op.
At least nandun na yung mga warning shots na force back nila ang G2. Bumalik nga sila nakapag-rotate going into A side, but will this be the best choice that they will have? Makikita ka agad ngayon na medyo fishy kung sino ba ang nagtatry pumasok sa loob ng tube, pero I don't think it's going to be enough para i-secure na nga mismo nila yung kitchen dahil yun nga, eyes on the prize going to A side.
Alam na nila, though. Merong nakita si Riens dito habang bumababa siya. dun sa positioning niya. So they're heavily aware there might be an A-take happening anytime soon, at ngayon na yung soon na yan dahil yung Recon nag-connect na nga mula sa likod, nagkasalisihan, tinamaan pa ng bala si Valen dito, yung maliit na butas, ako ng bahala. Riens getting another kill through the smoke here. Hunter's Fury available para sa kanila, pero alam nila it's gonna be jail dahil sa lockdown na to. A complete utter read mula sa Team Heretic side.
Just because of him jumping away from the recon para hindi siya ma-detect at i-force back talaga siya. I-force talaga yung push na yan ng G2. Unfortunately for the rest of the G2, nakapag-plant man sila na spike, sobrang silang na-delay coming from B side. Pumasok pa man din sana sila dito going into A. But then again, with all of the pressure, talagang mantitindig balahibo na lang dahil we have the lockdown, we have them forced back into just one corner na wala man lang silang kalaban-laban.
Tatlong players ang na-corner nila doon ng no choice, literal, kung hindi lumaban. It's a 5-2, a well-executed retake scenario mula sa side ng Team Heretics with the help of the lockdown. And they still have a lot more utilities to play around with. Kapag nakaramdam ng B-site, maring makita natin yung Viper's Pit kung sasakali man.
Wow, na rin siya ng info ng Recon eh. Pero yun nga, ito na nga rin talaga yung go signal. I think most of G2 din is waiting patiently kung sakali mang Viper's Pit na nga ba talaga ito or may magpipick ba ba dahil there's still a possibility for Woot na magstay put nga din in B long to check it out with an operator at hand. Hindi naman ito na-deny, but then given the fact na meron naman tayong trash, this is good example for them para ma-open up nila yung site, pero mahuhuli pa rin naman sila ni Boo dahil hindi na-check ng trash kung saan ba siya nananatili kanina.
Lumabas lang siya agad at hinahanap siya dun sa loob with the null command executed. Walang utility play at all mula sa side ng G2. Raw firepower ang labanan dito sa loob pa ng mga smokes as well. They have to wrap around this big smoke or big Viper's Pit that we're looking at right now and try to find one player. Kahit sino, kahit isa lang. Si Boo nasa loob pa din and he finds it. Jonah P successful on that. Finding another mula sa taas. The information has been given. Hunter's Fury nilabas na. And that's gonna be the kill. Hindi napigilan yung plant though. And now, Team Heretics, sila kailangan mag-retake.
Kahit pa paano, may lamang naman sila pagdating sa numbers. Pero kasi yung mga utility nga na nakaabang ngayon, we still have here Mosh Pit na pwede na rin naman na iba to. Pero this time kasi yung shock darts, yung turret, makakatulong sa kanila altogether to defuse the spike. But then, we still have the operator or rather, Phantom na ngayon ang pinalit ngayon kaagad ni Woot. But now, pinilit man kaagad ni Benji Fishy or ni IC ngayon na ilaban nga yung duel. Unfortunately, the numbers are just lacking into their favor kasi.
6-2 at Team Heretics so far. Pagdating dito sa defensive side nila, napaka-successful pa ng mga retake scenario talaga kung mapapansin mo. It's more of really trying to punish who enters the site. Nandun, kompleto yung pagdating sa delay. Yung mga players and utility play, itong Team Heretics, but you have to give it to them with that much amount of smokes and walls coming up sa mukha nila. They really try to find space around it.
Lawak din kasi talaga ng understanding ng Team Heretics dito kung paano ba nila maiisahan yung G2 even though na sobrang naging unfavorable na nga yung moment na yun for Boo dahil ang bilis ang pakikitungo nga, ang bilis ang naging trade-off, ang bilis ang pag-push yung Jonah P earlier. But this time, G2 still taking their chances in B. Nandito pa rin naman si Boo. Take down kaagad etong DC. Dahil dyan sa one-way smoke na yan, may ipit sila IC, vulnerable sila altogether. Pero will this, yung ultimate na to ni Valen ay magiging enough na nga ba para ma-force back at maging worth it nga ba itong space na matitake nila dito sa B?
They've done so well so far when it comes to retake scenarios pero hindi pa sila nakakapag-retake ng may Viper's Pit. Tignan natin kung kakayanin ba ng Heretics. 5-man squad pa rin to. Yung unang ping pagdating sa spike nandun na to force out enemy lines. Andyan yung mga shock darts, pati na rin yung Recon. No one really to find but the Flash settling in and finding someone. Ito na yung Hunter's Fury. Nalabas na rin dahil sa pagtap ng spike. It's a lot of utility play for this post plant but Patitek is paving the way para sa side ng Team Heretics na ituloy ito. Halfway diffuse yung spike pero mula sa likod it's gonna be Leaf. Wala siyang angulo kahit sa spike na to and that's all he can do. Punish the last two players. That's it.
Ay, nagrereklamo pa naman ako na ang tagal ni Leaf talaga. Nanggaling pa siya ng A-site, nanggaling pa ng defender spawn. Pero understandable dahil wala silang ka-idea, hindi makita ng G2 fully kung sino-sino na nga ba yung talaga nagpo-force ng ping, nagpo-force ka ng mga duel sila here on yellow. Dahil they had the Viper Spit, na force pa itong Hunter Fury nga nila. So unfortunately for G2, na late sa eksena. Ultimo parang parang police nga na late na sobra sa mga movies natin eh.
Wala eh. I mean, the rotation is good kung buhay pa yung mga kakampi mo. Unfortunately, Patitech went crazy on that round and really found a lot of players para laruin yung smoke na yon. And G3 was a bulldog. Trent spotting one, but very typical position. Alam na natin na may one-way smoke dyan agad-agad, di ba?
Just love how coordinated TH is, Heretics is when it comes to knowing the fact na kahit bawas na kaagad sila, kakayanin na kaagad nila itong ma-turn around, kakayanin na lang kaagad na alam mo yun, ma-force back pa yung G2 into thinking na kakayanin din sila dito pabalik. And now, with that being said, I don't think it was timing, dahil nakabantay naman doon maigi si Leaf, pero ang bilis lang din on the trigger ni Patitech.
Patitech's been just phenomenal pagdating dito sa mapa na to. He has been finding a lot of really impactful kills pagdating sa mga rounds na nakikita natin. Wood, on the other hand, slowly creeping up. Sakto yung smoke, but Benji, fishy. Alay lang pala yun. It's a bait and switch that worked out perfectly.
Ay, dito talaga sa mga baits and switches sila, kumbaga talagang magkadikit na lang din kaagad sila dito, especially sa mga times sa habulin na lang agad si Boo. Now with a shock dart, now with Fishy as well. Para sa kanilang trade, it's all up to Trent and his Sheriff. Mukhang madetect pa nga kaagad ang Recon. Hindi na rin siya makakalaban pa. 8-2 yung scoreline ngayon, Tay. And Heretics is just really doing it. They're just really popping off and they know kung paano nila ma-decipher agad-agad kung ano bang possibility ng post-plant positioning sa G2.
Sobrang on point. At the same time, kitang-kita mo naman, di ba? From game number 1 up until game number 2, kung paano nagre-revolve around playing Woot itong team na to as well to play around the duelist that we have. Alam niyang naka-operator siya and kapag nalugi siya, there's at least one player to catch that kill and it was Benji Fishy. Di nga nakuha yung kill eh. Instead, sila pa yung nakapitas ng isa doon. It was just a quick bait and switch. Nagplant sila sa B, walang problema. Retake tayo every single round.
Kaya nga halos 7-8 rounds or rather 7 rounds talaga halos yung retake nila out of 8. So, laging nabibait out yung G2 into thinking na magiging komportable na nga sila para sa kanilang magiging postman and all. But now, na makakukuhaan pa nga kaagad sila ng info after that knife, magiging huli na nga ba ang lahat for G2 para makagkaroon pa ulit ng round? But now, with even the fragment, we even hear the crowd cheering na on point pa yung fragment to deny that lockdown and back off na lang muna ngayon ng G2 tuloy.
Wow, the anti-strat is anti-stratting indeed. Cancel yung A-site natin, mga tropa. I mean, that's a reason also kaya yung lockdown na nakita mo kanina, hindi nakapwesto doon. It's already a known spot at this point. At isang need lang yung kailanganin nila dito para ma-shutdown yun agad-agad. And a shock dart. But, eto na. Operator, in play, hindi tumama. That's the kill towards Woot. This time, walang ibang distraction, walang bait and switch. They punish one and execute malala. May trash available.
Yan na nga, yan na nga kaagad sila para matulungan si Wingman to plant in the spike to check in whatever positioning Team Heretics has. But Leaf, on the other hand, magkakaroon naman kaagad ng trade. Tatlo na lang kaagad ang natitira for Heretics side. And slowly but surely, this is already ticking in favor of G2.
4v3 scenario. The drone naghahanap ng pwedeng mahanap. Icy, on the other hand, secures one kill as well. And si Valen, ito na yung round na hinahanap nila to close it off to an 8-3. One successful post plan kung saan apat pa yung buhay sa kanila. Exactly what G2 needs.
Yep. Kakasama sila all together. Don't know what if magkaroon pa ng potential lineup nga dito ngayon yung Heretics to pin them down one by one here on yellow, no? But then again, kung babalikan nga natin, they're just really counter-saving in players from Heretics dahil nga una sa lahat, nawala na si Moot. The time was already ticking, 4 pa sila, and 3 na lang din ang natitira for Heretics. But this time, we have now here the Eco na pwedeng bangging favor na ngayon for G2. 4 daw ang magpupush laban kay Patitek after that cascade.
Dizzy. Walang bumarel para kay Patitek. Same positioning mula sa kanya and mukhang sinusubukan na siyang hanapin. But Benji, Fishy, really a good stronghold pagdating sa kanyang Sentinel, pagdating sa kanyang role. Yung drone naman, hinahanap na rin kung sino mga possibility na mapatayin nila. Patitek still has some space to reconsider pagdating dito. Kaso nga lang, that wall is gonna come down and Icy is gonna catch him off guard instead. It's a 4v4. They still know the position of Riens, pero mahahanap siya dito into 1-to-1 trade. 3v3.
3v3 sa postman na ito, mahuli pa sa eksena ngayon si Wood. But this time, at least rinig na ng Heretics ngayon kung saan ba pwede pa manggaling ang G2. They just need to wisely isolate in the fights dahil may humabol na alarm bot pa sa kanya. Detected by the recon. Itong si Bu kaya naman huli na ang lahat para sa kanya. It's all up to Wood this time. With the Blade Storm, will this be still doable for him to clutch it out? Dahil ngayon, makikita, malalaman, he is vulnerable. Pero at the meantime, mukhang paglalaruan lang muna ang pusok na dami ni Sipan ngayon ni Wood dahil nagpapantintero lang muna ngayon sinatrend sa kanya.
Ang hirap. Mahirap. Masyado nang careful itong G2 on that round. And they wanna make sure they get that 8-4 scoreline. Not too bad, I would say. Especially para sa side ng G2. Very much comebackable score, if that's a word, para sa team na to. And they've done a pretty good adjustment actually para ma-cancel out. Kung isipin mo yung operator, I don't think nakakuha to ever ng kill. They've been doing a great job canceling out yung mga angle na hinahawakan ng isang jet. Nakikita mo parate yung cascade, nako-cover up kung saan man yung positioning niya kahit naka-updraft pa siya sa yellow, kahit naka-updraft pa siya sa second floor. The walls of the harbor just helps a lot.
Hey guys, we have a very special guest.
Pakinggan natin si Tita Mika.
We all join dancing. Now, I hear that you have a very big fan on stage right now. It's Benji Fishy. He's your #1 fan. What does it feel like now you're cheering him on?
其实我们都知道 Benji Fishy 是我们 Boaster 的头号粉丝。那现在你站在这里看着他正在舞台上比赛，感觉怎么样呢？
I think Benji Fishy works extremely hard and he's playing so well this year and I think he deserves all the success he can get.
我觉得 Benji 是一位非常刻苦努力的选手，这一年他都非常的努力，所以我觉得他现在取得的成功都是他应得的。
Well, the score is now 8-4 in favor of Heretics. What do you make of the match so far?
那根据现在的比分来看 ，Boaster， 你觉得今天这场比赛你怎么看呢？
Yeah, I think Heretics are looking on form. They're playing so well. They're playing together. I think in order for G2 to start winning, they need to start playing together as well.
他觉得现在 TH 他们整体的状态都非常的好，他非常的看好他们能够就继续拿下这场比赛。
And finally, we hear you have a special message for this crowd. Let's hear it.
大家好，谢谢你们的支持。声音大了。
声音很大，大家很热情，热情。
All right, let's hear it for Boaster. Thank you so much.
谢谢。
谢谢。
我爱你们。
The man of many dances, the man of many voices.
Ibang klase ang mga naramdaman nga ng ating viewers at the moment. At kahit tayo, no, tutuwa sa mga naging interview ni Tita Mika kanina.
Alam ko yung ngiti ni Mika eh. Ito ang pinaka... Magchat-chat na yan sa GC. Favorite interview moment ko to. Ngiti pa lang, yung tawa pa lang, alam ko na eh. Nararamdaman ko na eh. Bigay shoutouts, syempre, dyan sa stadium. Wow, sinoutout yung stadium. Kala mo, baka mo na nagsha-shoutout sa Mercedes-Benz Stadium eh.
Oo nga eh. Lagi na lang silang interview. Shoutout nga natin.
Shoutout sa inyo dyan ha. Sana masaya kayo ha.
Wait. Team Heretics has a pistol, has a classic, ng G2. At ngayon na makikita natin sila umaarangkada. Mukha magiging worth it nga yung mga pag-push ni Woot ngayon with a triple. Already going in favor of Heretics dahil si Jonah na lang ang matitira. Huli pa siya sa eksena dahil apat pa ang mga kalaban niya.
A classic versus 4. Yeah, you know the answer, mga tropa. It's a 9-4 for Team Heretics. And what more can Woot bring to the table? Lalo na kapag nag-swap pa ng sides HG, di ba? Sila na yung kailangan umatake, sila na yung kailangan pumasok. And we've seen Woot's performance from game number 1. I'm not surprised he was able to do that flawlessly. Huling-huli pa nga yung mga nagsiset-up pa lang eh.
Yan ang magiging problema kung sakaling wala kang duelist sa ganitong klaseng map, ano? Dahil mahuhuli ka eh. Mahahanap ka kaagad eh, Woot. You are taken off guard at yun yung mga lagi talagang posibleng mangyari when it comes to Woot being really just dominant in this kind of scenario. At mukhang pwede pa itong pumabot pa nga ng tuluyan sa kanila dahil at the moment we can see them after winning out the pistol round, maiiba na ngayon ang kanilang buys. We have the Guardian for Patatech. Kay Woot naman kaagad on that Vandal.
Remember, itong team na to, itong dalawang teams na to, nagtapat dito sa Masters Shanghai. Pangatlong beses na to, guys. Pangatlo na dito sa same event na to. So they know each other's play styles and it shows kung ano yung homework na ginawa ng Heretics para tapatan to. Patitech already going for a kill here. At tatlo na lang ang natitira, all with a classic left on their hands.
All up to Trent. Mababatuhan pa kaagad na shock. Tartabulin ni Rians. Hindi magwawagi si Rians. Pero at least Boo is there to cover him up. Now with a 10-4 scoreline. Halos hindi nakakalayo sa mga naging scorelines nila earlier on in game number 1. But still, dominant and convincing lead para sa Heretics.
Tapusin nyo na. May grind pa kami mamaya. O guys, panawagan sa lahat ng maglalaro mamaya. Huwag kayong mag-smurf ha.
Yan.
Nag-grind kami. Baka naman.
Makatikim lang ng ng Ascendant bag.
Biggest shoutout syempre sa mga coaches namin, sina Reg, sina Jeff. Ayan, lalakas yun eh. Nanonood din, sina Pot.
Mga sama-sama yan sa Discord ngayon. Pero sama-sama din naman yan na Heretics na mababawasan din naman kaagad ng isa. Wala silang bawi dahil ang bilis umexit na naman nila IC. But still, mukhang convincing pa rin at talagang decidido pa rin ang G2 or rather ang Heretics na pumasok sa A-side.
It's really tough to play around this kind of scoreline, a double digit, plus you trying to get back the rounds. Alam na naman natin na economy-wise, not looking really great, but at the same time, first buy round to ng G2. They have to win this, and yung first kill na yun toward Riens is already a step towards that direction.
Here. Pinigay na lang nila muna yung site dahil most probably mahirapan sila kung sakali na hindi nila ito mapag-isipan ng mabuti. Pero hindi nila naisipan mabilis sa manding exe na si Woot to tackle down players na magmumula sa vendor spawn. And now, Venjifishy is holding all the way from screens and this time they're just holding him off dahil meron naman tayong mga wall na kasama. Problema, all of the players remaining for Heretics is playing inside of the site.
Cascade na yun, nadaanan si Benji Fishy and the kill settles in, but Patitech isn't done yet. Makakahanap pa siya ng isa and Boo leaves that to the kill para kay Jonah P. And G2 successfully retaking the site here and tatlo pa yung boys sa kanila. Exactly what they needed, like I said.
Yep. Umulit din kasi si Woot eh. Layo ng pinurse niya. We had the blinds earlier on. Pero at least, masasabi natin always on point and always coordinated yung mga utilities to amplify Woot altogether to go in for the push. At least for G2 is nandun naman yung crossfire nila. Nandun naman yung vision nila all the way from screens. So, laking bagay pa rin talaga ng naging pag-wait lang din ng G2 nila Valen earlier before silang magkakasama ng mag-retake ng site.
I think dumaan din si Benji Fishy dun sa wall ng Viper. Kaya pagkasilip mo sa kanya, yung vulnerability nandun and a quick shutdown. Pero nakuha na nila yung orb dito para kay Valen for that reckoning. Just in case they might need it for that retake scenario kung sakali man. For the side of Team Heretics though, alam naman natin na itong setup ng G2, it's a no-duelist comp. So more on dito sa defense. Ito magre-rely. Let's see how Team Heretics can close this off kung gusto nilang manalo sa 2-0 na yan.
Mararattle pa nga ngayon yung positioning ni Wood dahil nga we had the reckoning, we had the mollies, but Boo to reclaim back their aggression. Makakapag-plant na nga ba sila ng spike ngayon dahil dalawa na lang ang natitira at the moment for G2 at wala na rin naman magpipick for Heretics.
Jonah mula sa screens. Isa naman mula rafters. Drop down na. Valen has a good positioning. The vulnerability also settling in perfect time. Para kay Valen, yung tap ng spike na yon kahit papano medyo magpapanik yung iba sa mga players. Alam nilang off, pero Boo onto the corner as the last player remaining. Makukuha pa rin ng G2 itong retake na to.
Linis ang util play. Especially for G2. Lalo na walang nagawa halos si Wood Binigay lang nila yung space and anticipate nila that Wood will be all the way from the backside kaagad after they hear the dash. Bumato na kaagad sila ng Dizzy. There's also the mosh pit and then the reckoning misplaced players from Heretics. But it was close though. Akakala naman din talaga is eto na namang round na ito ay mapupunta for Heretics after biglang nagkaroon ng 2K nga si Nabu.
Played it perfectly, lalo na kung may cove ka sa ganong posisyon. No choice yung mga players dito ng Heretics na barilin or shutdown agad yon para makita nila. And you would know yung info kung saan na nagtatago yung last few remaining players. G2, kailangan nilang i-hold off na naman to. And kagandahan, at least na-punish nila yung economy ng Team Heretics side. So, it's really just the Stingers and one Vandal they're holding on to.
This is the first time na makikita nating nag-eco na finally ang Heretics dahil nga na-punish na sila ng tuluyan after trying to dominate in the sites altogether dahil nga sa mga utilities. But then, sabi nga natin, ang util play kasi ang magiging lamang ngayon ng G2 on the defense. So, what more can they do kung sakali mang bumalik nga sa eksena dito ang momentum for the side of G2. Pero good trades na mapupunta for Valen. That's already 2K and wild enough to see kung paano nga ba ito babalikan pa ni Wood.
Alam niyang nag-heat up dito. Hindi niya na lang lalabanan. Hindi niya na lang tatapatan. Instead, they want to play close to each other. It's a 3v4 scenario anyway. At least, they get the plant down. A little bit of a damage pagdating doon sa shock dart na yun. But this gives them enough space to go back, return to their positions for the post plant. They do have some shock darts and some flashes as well to play around with. Pati na rin itong null command nandyan din. But Wood already good 4-1, making it to a 3v3. Again, eco round nila to, HG.
Ganda nito dahil we still have here the null command na available na rin naman na for Patitech now.
Wow!
Going 1v1 with a crazy 4K to win themselves up with another round on this half. Nandun na tayo sa pag-scale up ng comeback sana ng G2 pero nabalikan nila kaagad with just another multi-kill and another show coming in from Wood.
Alam mo yung nandun na yung gigil niya para patayin yung harbor na yun But this quick-wit decision-making mula kay Wood na really to revert back to the teammates, play on the null command kung saan wala silang pang-utility play para kay Wood. And it's just a few or a raw firepower kind of scenario na kailan mo lang patamain yung blades mo. And you know it's Wood. You know he's crazy when it comes to those.
Yeah. Sobrang confident na yun sa pagkakataon na yun. Dahil again, ito yung, isa yun sa mga reason kung bakit iiba na naman tuloy ng pakikitungo sa round na ito ang G2. Ubos na naman ang pera nila, magbabakaway na lang din muna, walang madadetect yung knife natin. At the moment, pero at least masisecure na nila ng tuluyan yung site. They had the info, so might as well secure and fully, commit and fully dito na sa A.
Pop na rin yung mga swarms na sinet up dito para sa side ni Leaf. And the shock darts wouldn't connect as well. It's not a default plant that we're looking at. Instead, they had the complete space, and space is what they're trying to take as distraction lang pala si Wood dito habang yung iba nagtatrabaho lang. It's a match point para sa Team Heretics side.
God, mind blown. Kaagad ang G2 at the moment, hindi man sila makahabol nga in the double-digit scoreline. But this is just looking really, really precise already for Team Heretics. Sobrang linis lang din ng mga takes. They already know na hindi sila magiging pabor when it comes to fighting on the retake, fighting on the site immediately dahil nga sa mga utilities and all. Kaya naman ngayon na talagang head-on collision ang ginagawa nila. Just sa trade-offs, gamitin nila as a dog si Wood para makapangkuha lang ng attention and then go in for the trades and the pick. So again, match point for Heretics.
It's a little bit tough. Rough on the edges para sa side ng G2 dito. minsan, alam mo yung mga moments na, alam mong wala namang maling ginagawa, yung mistakes, hindi naman ganun kadami para sa side ng G2, but Heretics is just on point. Every player that you have, Patty Tech, if not Benji Fishy, don't forget about Woot na nandyan pa sa team na to. There's just so many players who can really pop off. And to think of, si Trent medyo tahimik pa kung tutuusin.
Hindi natin nakikita nga yung spark altogether for G2. I only see her Valen every single time as he hold onto the side. Tapos, minsan lang natin makita din halos si Leaf and with his utilities and all dahil most of the time na maririnig na natin yung dashes in and out ngayon ni Wood is, yun na, force back na siya. He is already popping off the utility and all, but at the meantime kasi, ay, hirap nito dahil at least we have the trash, we have the reckoning. Hunter's Fury as well gives a lot of potential threat ngayon for the post-plan scenario sa Heretics.
Salamat, Benji Fishy. May bago na naman akong lineup. Dito na lang ako kumukuha ng lineup ko eh. Sa mga matches na lang na ganito eh. Ganun pala yun. Anyway, etong G2 naman, at least may trash sila. Kung tutuusin, no, dahil nga hindi sila masyado nakakakuha ng kills at orb control, kung tutuusin, hindi natin nakikitang mag-up agad yung mga ults nila dito. Si Valen, madalas. Dahil siya rin naman yung top fragger sa buong team ng G2 right now. But other than that, they have really good utilities to go for a retake.
Jonah P! Kita-kita ata kasi yung barrel niya kanina. So, wala na siya pang nagawa pa. Now, going on with the reckoning, wala naman din mag-amplify nito halos dahil hindi naman sila fully on mag-push. Benji Fishy is still holding all the way from 2F. And now, kailangan pa nila mag-retake sa loob pa ng Viper Spit na kung saan hindi pa nila makita. Hindi pa nila malaman kung saan na ba nagtatago ngayon si Benji Fishy who potentially has the potential para makakuha pa ng 4K. And now, 8-2-0 for the series already para sa team.
Wow. They've been playing around the site so well. Kahit yung pwesto ni Benji Fishy dito, instead na siya yung mahuli, instead na siya yung mag-panic, siya pa yung nakahanap nung mga kills na kailangan nila to really close off the rounds here and to close off map number 2. What a team that we have right now on the stage. On point ang Team Heretics dito right now. And G2 has to come back and go back sa resting area nila ng madaming kailangang isipin at maraming kailangang i-prep up.
Sobrang laking pressure nito, Tay, dahil for sure, they need to think about how to take down the momentum na meron kay Wood. Kung paano nila ma-deny at maka-counter out na rin itong mga holds, yung mga utility play coming in from Patitech. Most of the time naman din nung nagkaroon nga ng rounds ang G2, it was also convincing dahil nga nung umabot tayo in the second half, they had the utility play, but then parang nagkakaroon ka rin ng something in favor of Heretics na mas pumapabor pa sa kanila biglaan eh.
Sina coach, ano na lang eh, appear na lang, oh my god na lang din sila, literal. It was just nicely played, you know? Kung paano sila nag-practice, parang nakita natin kung paano talaga sila as a team. Everything was just working out. Trades, not a problem. Playing together alongside the flashes of Patitech, not a problem. Kung sisilipin natin siguro yung assist ng taong to, medyo malala yung makikita natin sa scoreboard because those flashes parating may follow-up din as well. Minsan mamamatay yung Heretics, oo, pero majority of the time, worth it lahat ng play nila.
Yeah. Ibang klase yung pagbibigay nila ng hustisya sa mga pushes ni Wood. Ibang klase yung pagbibigay nila ng pang-force back lang din laban sa side ng G2. So, yeah, really is just clean plays. Pero sobrang laking pressure dito dahil 2-0 na tayo. One more map to go for Heretics. At matatapos pa tayo ng maaga dahil lang sa series na to.
Kung ganyan, kinikilig ako. Ano naman talaga. 2-0 so far para sa side ng Heretics. Tanong ni HG, matatapos na ba sa game number 3? Malalaman natin yan once we go in a very short break dahil sa pagbabalik natin, it's either the last game o meron pang isa, so don't go away.
The win streak continues for Team Heretics. They are just one map away from a grand finals here at Masters Shanghai. I'm Yingsun, I've got Mimi and Doug with me here once again. You guys, if this was the best of 3, they would have beaten G2.
And that's a rarity. 2 back-to-map, massive map wins here for Team Heretics. This crowd has been behind them the whole way, and everyone was up on their feet for that win. It's a second dominant map they've taken now in this series.
It just feels like their time has arrived, right? The memories of Madrid, they're gone. They're forgotten at this point. For them to be able to dominate the way that they have here with what's before them, it feels like this is their time. Their time is now.
They've learned. And I'm glad you mentioned the crowd, Mimi, because Benji Fishy, he seems like a fan favorite here. So let's take a look at him in the aim lab shoot around. And Benji was doing very well on that map. They all were doing well. It just feels like there's no weakness right now for Team Heretics.
Yeah, it feels like there's nothing to hang your hat on. There's nothing to like draw a little bit of hope from. It just feels like from top to bottom, every single person is shooting. Wood is just breaking the game on the way it's supposed to be played. Like, there's very little to no hope here.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're talking about playing as a team and being so good together, I think Benji is the linchpin of that. They're playing a lot of these late retakes on Icebox. I think Benji on the defense does such a good job of finding his timing to get his 1 kill, get his 2 kills, then get out, find the next moment to regroup with the team, and also to isolate that guy coming in on the dive. Round after round, they were getting the opening kills. Team Heretics was playing from advantages, and Benji, and especially Wood, were such a big part of that.
I'm glad you said he broke the game, because I'm with you. I'm convinced that the game no longer works because of Wood, because here he is in the Verizon high-speed moment. It's so effortless. This is what is crazy. It's just feels like it's nothing to him.
He does make it look easy. I think this last kill was the most satisfying. That one right there onto Icy. Like,
it's just sublime.
He's so, you mentioned it earlier, Mimi, when we were looking at his clip on Vine. He's just so fast. How many times did we see him push up B long and just like half a step, 1 tap?
And again, look, his crosshair is not on that last player's head. That is a flick. And it's not like a massively like impressive 90-degree flick, but his like tiny micro adjustments in his aim are so clean. You never see him over flick. You never see him over adjust. His mouse control is like absolutely ridiculous. The talent this guy has is out of control.
I mean, we have potentially 1 more map left, maybe even 3 maps left. I'm just going to voice this into the universe so it does not happen again, because against Fnatic, Heretics, they went up on Sunset, they went up on Bind, and then they lost Lotus, Split, and then Breeze to get reverse swept. Does this sound familiar looking at this map, all you guys?
Yeah, look, rings a bit of a bell.
Yeah. I'm just voicing into the universe. I've said it now. It's not going to happen. It's impossible.
Is that how it works?
Yes, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen,
But hear me, if they can just win this one cleanly and finally get a 3-0, it would be so big. Think of every map where they're having to play the late game, or they're losing to a comeback to a team like G2, choking that final versus Fnatic, being the first team in the region to be reverse swept. I feel like they could put all that behind them if they just win this
Lotus.
last map.
Yes, they have to win Lotus.
Yeah, just win Lotus, get the monkey of G2 off your back, get Madrid off your back, and again, the reverse sweep. All of these things are kind of coming to a head right now here in front of the biggest stage that Valorant has had. So this, again, almost feels like Heretics can't let this one go. And I'm not saying that in like a cursey way or whatever.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it just, again, it doesn't seem like there's anything that G2 have shown that's like, okay, they're doing that well, they can capitalize on, they can build off of it. There's nothing there.
When we've watched G2 throughout the tournament, I've always been the most impressed with their trading, their fundamentals, and how they play as a team, especially in chaotic mid-rounds. When the rounds get scrappy, when things get weird, they tend to do a great job of setting each other up for success and finding the right swings to play as a team. I have not seen that be up to the same level thus far in this series. They are getting picked apart by individuals. And goddamn are the individuals impressive. What Wood is doing is unreal. But still, there are fundamental mistakes. I think the micro comms are off a little bit. G2 really has to rally if they want to stay in this.
On the other side of this, though, Doug, what if they could make it happen? What do they have to do on Lotus if they could do what Fnatic did?
I think the calling has to be exceptional from Balin. Here's the thing about this map, and I'm kind of worried about this, but again, if it's going to happen, it could happen here. Lotus can be such a swingy map. How often do we see 9 3s into 13 10s? You know, something like that. Like, it's not out of the realms of possible. And I think, again, I want to bookend what we talked about at the beginning of the show up until now. Valen has to be able to call a good game here, given that it's 3 maps, given that conditioning matters so much more.
Yeah, I mean, the last time that this got played, it's actually been played in both these series between these two teams. Team Heretics won at 13-9 the first time. The second time was after they let that comeback happen on Ascent, and they got absolutely stomped 13-4. I don't think that's an indictment of their strategic approach to Lotus. I think that was them being mentally boomed. But strategically, this team is really sound here. Boo's attack side mid-rounding, I think, is on point. Woot, as he is on every map, is excellent on the executes in how they set him up. But I have been impressed with G2's defense throughout this tournament. And I think starting on the defense, you really need something early. You cannot let this Team Heretics squad snowball another early lead.
I mean, if it's anyone, we said this before, that could potentially make this happen, that are resilient enough and are skilled enough and have done it before, Doug, it is G2. They have the answers.
Yeah, I think part of the problem, though, is, we talked about how we can't let Heretics get a strong start. We can't let them snowball. They've done that, right? It's too late at this point. It doesn't feel like...
But every map is a reset. Every map is a reset. They've proved their mental before, but it is going to be really the most difficult test here in front of this crowd.
It will be indeed. We're going to take a look at Agent Select in just a moment for Lotus. Of course, this is where Heretics let it slip the last time they played a best of 5. But this time around, like you guys have said, I think they've learned from it. They know what not to do, at least.
I think Icy also needs to be able to step up in a big way. I mean, honestly, look down across the stage, right? Like, go across all 5 members, and somebody needs to be a spark. Because you're staring down the barrel of this miracle run coming to an end in the most tragic way possible, where you're just getting obliterated across 3 maps.
It would be the worst way for this to end for G2. Both these teams are very familiar with each other on this map. We heard it in that interview from Neil. They've played each other twice before. It is so rare in a tournament to see back-to-back-to-back matches against the same team. So again, you have to look back to Valen, to Boo. Now that they've learned their opponent's tendencies, now that they know them so well, how can they themselves vary their style, try new things, and maybe pull this off?
Yeah, and here we are, the Agent Select. What do you guys make of this?
I mean, nothing too surprising, right? Like, it looks like Team Heretics might be going for some switches within the specific...
Meron pa nga bang isa o last na ito for Heretics as we move in forward into game number 3. Lotus naman ito para magkaroon na rin naman ng tsansa ulit ang G2 manalo sa series na ito. Again, Hanigli si The Doubly, kasama ko ngayon si Taylor. And again guys, sa mga mabilis na mga pangyayari kanina in the past 2 matches, magkakaroon na nga ba tayo ng conclusion sa best of 5 series na ito laban sa G2?
Kala ko, nagtatagalog na si Mimi bigla eh. Nagulat din ako eh. Pero yun nga, that's the storyline na para sa series na to so far. And na-mention naman din ng panel natin, di ba, the amount of times they've played together. Not only that, pero dito, Team Heretics, if they want to win, they have to close this map away dahil dito nagsisimula yung comeback from the previous matches that we've seen. And they still have to, you know what? They've played this map during the time nasa EMEA stage din sila as well. They performed good when it comes to this map. But again, may mga butas pa rin eh, na nahahanapan ng butas. Lalo na kung kalaban mo yung team na pangatlong beses mo na makatapat sa isang same tournament.
Totoo. At alam naman natin kung paano ba naman din halos consistently nagkaroon din ng ganong klaseng play, nagkaroon din ng ganong klaseng pagiging momentum-based kind of team etong G2 laban sa Heretics. So pwede pa nilang gawin dito ngayon in Lotus. Pero ang hirap lang din dito kasi ngayon, yes, it can be a reset for a new map. But then again, yung pressure kasi, it's just one more map for Heretics to close out this best of 5 series. At sila na ngayon ang mapupunta to go up against the grand finalists nating nag-aantay na lang din Gen G. But it just really goes to show kung paano ba natin makikita ngayon na magiging comfortable ulit si Wood, kung paano magiging mas wild enough itong G2 makapag-play to counter them out and cancel out the momentum na meron kina Benji Fishy.
Kung hindi mawawala siguro yung momentum na naset netong nina Benji Fishy plus Wood and then the other combinations as well that you can play around kasama si Wood, kung same scenario, same synergy, going in from map number 1 until map number 2 until map number 3, hindi malabo na makuha ng Heretics to. But again, labanan na lang to sa dulo ng mentality ng mga players natin. If they can come back to this map, if they can still have that will na talagang ma-push off to sa magiging next game natin dahil medyo masakit agad yung mga nades na yun.
Hindi natin ito ina-anticipate For me, for example, dahil halos lahat ng mga grenades na makikita natin from yesterday's Lotus map is lagi nilang binabato in mound. But this time, it's a different story. Magkakagulatan na naman ngayon ang G2 dahil dun sa rotating doors, hindi nila inakala na dun pala din magagaling ang Heretics bukod sa mga napatay nila kanina or nabigyan nila ng damage kanina just because of those grenades by Icy.
Ganda sana ng C's pang-delay dito and nagawa naman yun successfully ni Trent pero na-punish pa rin siya kahit papano ng isang player na hindi niya nahuli ng lubid doon. Jono P, on the other hand, successfully kills off yung kanilang magiging flank. So the anti-flank, at least natanggal na. Lahat ng mga players ngayon ng Heretics ay nasa loob ng site. Nakaabang na, nakaamba na. Body system it is at unang mawawala si Valen dito. It's a trade coming in from Wood as well and Leaf late to the party pero the kill is never late para sa Heretics.
Bilis na flick na naman at talagang hindi mo makikitang magbe-miss out ng shots ng ganun-ganun lang si Wood. Lalo na they're just really the space awareness for every single player for Heretics. Looking back into that pistol round, ibang klase na naman yung ginawa nilang panggulat nga. Dahil, ayun nanggaling sila sa rotating doors. Icy was just looking forward to meet people all the way from entrance pa dito ng mound. At wala na rin silang nagawa halos.
Grabe mag-Valorant si Wood. Siyang naka-aimbot. Pero hindi naman. Alam mo yon? Like, sobrang mechanically skilled niya as a player and it's wild to think of sa interview. Sinabi niyang hindi niya gusto maging duelist para sa isang role na to. Look at Leaf though. Oh man, walang takas at all. Ang ganda na ng cheeky position niya pero with that smoke, alam mo na merong maitim na binabalak.
Totoo. Lalo na yung smoke din na sinagot nga kaagad nila Bu kanina. Ibig sabihin lang nun, there's just one way for them to see kung saan ba manggagaling magpipick out yung Heretics earlier on. So, now, dalawa na lang. Dalawa na kaagad na nawala sa mapa ngayon for G2. And winiwindang pa sila ng Heretics dahil hindi sila immediately pumapasok ko way to see dahil meron naman ding naka-anchor na. Patitech is already in A, so more chance of winning siguro for G2 is mag-pick all the way together, but together nga sila mag-pick. Huli na ang lahat kaagad sa kanila dahil Patitech was able to win it out.
Patitech has been having great games mula din sa kanina, aside from Wood. Honestly, siya nga yung isa sa mga taga-setup niya kung tutuusin. Pero mula sa backside, nagtatago si Trent na,
Tawa siya It happens.
Nangyari sa akin yun, hindi talaga tumatama. yung Bucky na may neon sa harap, parang ando na Tapos alam mo yung si Leaf na wala na nga yung kamay niya sa mouse Naka-hold na lang siya doon sa diffuse button niya
Kung sigurong aware pa siya or kahit pa paano ilalaban niya pa yun, baka na-one-tap ka pa nga si Wood.
Inaantay rin ni Wood na parang titigan na lang ba tayo? Babi enjoyer din ata sila.
Wala na rin talaga kasing magagawa pa si Leaf kanina. Kaya naman, again, tinanggap niya na lang na at this time, utility play. Showstopper immediately after 3 rounds onto this game. Nakapang force back nga ng tao all the way from Waterfall pero secured na nila fully yung site dahil hindi na ito nilaban pa kahit papaano na ng G2.
Setups also being set upon sa kamay ng G2 ngayon. Yung Prowler na to makikita si Wood. But again, there's not really much of a follow-up mula doon sa mga utility play nila. It gives them info for one player and that's it. Sees facial combination, not connecting to anyone as well. Pero yung paranoia na yan sa dalawang players magko-connect. On the other hand, Wood is also positioning himself towards C-Long. And yung updraft na yan mula sa kanya kahit hindi siya jet. eh mamamatay siya dito. But at least secure niya na off pa rin yung pagde-defuse nila ng spike lineup gods. Eto na sila. The double kill settling in for Patitech. I think this is gonna be more of a Patitech show.
Oo. Lineup na kumbaga. And also, ito kasi yung naging plan B nila eh. After nilang i-fight head-to-head collision nga laban sa G2, ang site kanina for their retake, for their post-plant. Nandito naman kasi si Patitech para nga umikot agad-agad. Naging mabilis siya sa mga, naging approach niya nga nang hindi maging huli ang lahat dito for Patitech and the rest of the gang ng Heretics.
Also, such a good plan to not just go in to smoke. Make use of the Viper snake bite. Aside from the lineup na mapipigilan mo o makakancel mo yung plant, the vulnerability was very important to really close off those 2 kills easily.
Inispray niya na lang din yung smoke kanina eh. At since alam na rin naman na nila, nakakuha ng info kanina si Wood, so might as well use it in their favor. 3 rounds in the making already into their favor na ngayon itong half. And ngayon, nagbabakasakali kanina sina Leaf at Valin para sana magkaroon din ng pick off at mawindang nila yung Heretics, but hindi magiging paborito dahil nag-abang lang din si Benji sa kanila eh.
Walang pera. Muli, para sa side ng G2 dito. At again, this is multiple conversions coming in from Team Heretics. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. Laging itong bonus round nila, meron silang bawi, meron silang advantage na nakukuha dyan. And this says a lot dito sa mga matches na nakikita natin dito. On point ang Team Heretics all through and through.
Heretics with a Prowler. Ngayon may idea na sila pero matatalian lang din at the moment ng Seas. Pero hindi naman sila mahuhuli dahil we had the paranoia connected to the players of G2. May sagot ang G2 for a moment pero hindi naman magiging enough. Ang bilis naman ng comeback agad nila Patitech para masecure pa rin nila potentially itong round. 13 seconds ang matitira and it's all up to Leaf and his Stinger para ilaban pa.
Malay mo makapulot siya ng baril dito kung saswertehin. Pero this smoke, this Viper wall, it's a combination that only needs 1 shot to damage and to kill para doon sa round na yon. Alam na rin yung positioning niya. And dito mo makikita na talagang when it comes to retake scenario, sana, okay lang naman yung rotation ni Leaf kung tutuusin eh. Kahit sa map 2, kahit sa map 1. Talagang sadyang nauubos lahat ng players sa loob ng site bago pa siya makarating.
Hindi ko na rin alam kung anong bang
Pwede
nangyayari din eh. Oo, kasi for Heretics, they're just really amazing pagdating sa mga nagiging explosiveness nila. We had Wood sa mga multi-kills. We have Patitech on point kanina yung Hot. We had the Seas. Yung Prowlers humabol nga makakuha ng info din sa G2. Wala naman din halos ginagawang mali yung G2. But then, no-overwhelm kasi sila eh. This time, pwede nilang balikan agad yung players ng Heretics dahil isa-isa silang nahuli sa patibong ngayon ni Leaf. Pero ang nagiging problema dito ngayon is hindi nila kaagad na mandohan kung saan ba magtatago si Jonah P. Good repositioning for Jonah P immediately and now, finally a round for G2.
Tiniis niya na lang yung swarm, lalo na nadaanan na kasi ng Prowler yon eh. So, alam nila na walang tao pagdating sa kaliwa. But nagulat na lang din sila, Jonah was actually onto the corner. But other than that, it's a basic hold. You have an orb from a Viper. Alam mong pag tumawid sila, the vulnerability is there, plus the swarm. Alam mong hindi mo dapat tawirin yun, but again, if you have players like Woot na kayang pumasok ng ganun, pero unfortunate, hindi niya nakuha yung kill, maaaring posible pa. But again, ito yung kailangan ng G2, yung ganitong klaseng mga hold, ganito klaseng mga kills, killing off Patitech is actually huge.
Wala mo lang siya kalaban-laban dun. Wala siyang nakita ni isa. At yun nga ang humarap sa kanya kanina. We had the utilities, we have the pain shells earlier, but let's see, after that first initial kill, ano na nga ba yung pwedeng gawin na G2 para mag-amplify pa much more further etong round na ito sa kanila dahil again, promoter kasi yung Heretics to be wild enough kahit 4-man players na lang silang natitira kasi sa round na to eh.
Little bit of an adjustment though dahil at least binabasag nila yung mga bots or yung at least alarm bot pagdating sa B side. This forces out Valen to hold upper possession instead and maiwasan tong mapasok yung B-site ng basta-basta lang. Trent, mapapaatras. Again, naka-Odin siya dito. And kung sakali mang mapagdesisyonan ng Team Heretics kung saan sila pupunta, at mukhang si ata yun dahil nakaamba na si Woot, naghahanap na siya ng pick-off.
Sama pa namang crossfire na nagaganap ngayon. No? Nakaabang na yung snakebite, nakaabang na rin yung paranoia, and this takes off an advantage. Sana, hindi lang ito pumabor ka agad kay Wood dahil bumalaga sa kanya ang showstopper ni Icy. Benjafishy all together now with Jonah para ma-take down nila yung entries na ginawa ng Heretics. And unfortunately, hindi ito pumabor kahit anong bilis ng ginawa ng Heretics kanina to take down Seaside.
Such a good hold mula dito sa Viper plus yung Killjoy combination mo plus the kill mula agad sa A main. It cuts off any possible na gusto mong pag-rotatean, makes them worry na we don't really have space pagdating sa A site dahil namatay si Patitech doon. So no choice ka, ika nga kung mag-B or mag-C or iikot ka pa ba talaga all the way to A site. It's a fight towards Rubble side though, and Boo successfully taking down Icy instead.
Ito na pa, sana yung pag-change up nila ng pacing laban sa Heretics, and this time nilaban na mismo ng Heretics yun dahil nga after maisahan si Patitech earlier, kumbaga ito na yung gante nila at magkaroon pa rin naman ng consistency dito sa kanilang lead. It's down to a 4v5, hindi pa rin naman halos sila gumagalaw from their position all the way from Mound dahil they're looking up their chances kung sakaling may mas maging agresibo pa or mag-take ng chance ngayon ng G2 to push and at least hanap ng info from their lurks.
It's a B-take. At nakahanda na si Leaf kung sakali mang it's a B-take. Ready ang positioning dito ng G2. That is the first contact, the turret, and agad-agad isinet up niya na yung kanyang lockdown dito. This forces out Team Heretics to hyper-rotate. At rinig na rin to ni Jonah actually. He has a good flank here kung sakasakali man. No setups even on the alarm bot. Yan lang ang makakasalubong nila. But this is a wrap around actually.
Sandwich play ito. Nakita na rin natin to kanina in Icebox, but now, magiging unfortunate nga ba yung pwesto ngayon ni Valen? Magkakaroon ng connection when it comes to the paranoia. Trent, however, without Odin, makakapita sa kaba, pero woo! Collateral damage against Trent and Valen. That's already huge dahil they have the ability now to secure and fully the site even with that Viper spit pa.
Maganda yung rotation nila, pero ang tanong, can they hold? At mukhang sina Leaf at Jonah mula sa C ang nag-hold dito ngayon. With the Viper spit set like this, it's gonna be a difficult retake. Honestly, para kay Jonah P, exit frags na lang ata ang hanap niya dito at this point.
Unfortunate timing nun for G2. Although nandun naman yung idea, spray na lang yun eh, from that Odin, and ay, nako, ang bilis lang din kaagad kasi ni Boo para makarecover immediately. At alam naman niya kung paano din syempre magkakaroon ng advantage against the Odin player. So, yeah, sayang na round na yun again for G2. Yun na sana yun, pero again, halos parang may mga ganitong most of the rounds kasi for G2 na parang they can win out potentially the round, pero merong biglang mag-scale up, merong magkakaroon ng explosiveness from side of Heretics. So, yeah, another lead, another round for Heretics.
Who's also popping off pagdating dito sa round na to. At kung tutusin, no, yung swing out nga naman talaga nila dito, it was the perfect angle. It just so happens na tatlo rin yung nakaabang. Alam din kasi ng Heretics kung ano yung priority nila dito eh. Alam nila kung ano yung hindi pa nila nakiklear out, which was one position, and that is towards drop. Diba? So, this is just pure map awareness coming in from Heretics side, making sure na ma-clear out nila each and every angle possibly. Makikita mo lang yung mistakes na ganun is kapag talagang na-outplay ka, na-utakan ka, kagaya nung ginawa ni Jonah P na tinawid niya yung swarm after mag-prowler para lang matawid niya. Yung corner na yun, matimingan. There's just a lot to uncover para sa playstyle ng Heretics right now, but G2, they have to really make do of what they have right now and find value kahit dito sa Odin na to.
Klase yung nagiging play sila and all is because yung since yesterday pa lang din, since all the way from game number 1. Ibang klase yung trust nila when it comes to each other, taking over a site, taking over a corner. But now, habang magta-take over na nga ngayon ng Mound, or rather ng Rubble, si Icy, wala naman din kaagad na bubulaga sa kanya. Bumalaga man daw ang mga tao ngayon from Heretics laban ngayon kay Leaf, and he is immediately forced back. Mukhang retake na lang lalaruin muna ngayon for this round ng G2.
Marami or maganda yung mga hold nila pagdating sa C kanina. So, this is a little bit worrisome para sa side ng Heretics, and I feel like it's more of really finding utilities, basagin yung mga traps, basagin yung mga swarms, and pull the rotation mula sa players ng G2 to go to C. And they successfully do that, but they really don't have much space kahit sa A-Rubble dahil dun sa combination of utilities na binabato dito simula kanina. So may control sila dyan. It's a split CB. So ito yung binibigyang focus ngayon ng G2.
Masabi kung ano ba talagang idea ngayon ng Heretics, lalo na there goes a spray transfer. They already know and aware kung saan na nga ba ngayon pwede nga makitungo isa sa mga players from G2, but now with that Nightfall, this creates an opening, pero will they be ready laban kay ICD? He went through the vulnerability na bibigay na Poison Cloud, kaya naman tatlo agad ang nawala sa mapa. It's all up to the low HP Rians. Patitek pa, however, makakapag-create naman ng space all the way from 2F, pero sa nakikita natin parang magiging all over the place na rin kasi kaagad na G2.
Tatlo ang lalabas dito. Patitek was able to get 2 mula sa likod. The timing is there. 1 HP remaining on to him. He still managed to pull off a kill. May isa pa na kailangan niyang patayin. 1 HP versus 87. It's a pulse plant and he wins. It's an ace.
My God, another ace in the series. Dalawa.
You have to be kidding me.
Ay, nako. Ewan ko ba? How can he even win this one out? Although, ang ganda rin kasi ng idea niya eh. Since he is already low on HP, he anticipated the push na pwedeng ang ganapin ngayon, gawin sa kanya ngayon ng players from G2 side after niya mapatay dito si Valen. So he was able to use that Poison Cloud para maging vulnerable kung sakali mang natumawin siya doon, and there's only just 2 sides, 2 angles para tingnan nga ngayon ng natitirang player na yon from G2, and unfortunately, he lost the 50-50.
I mean, para sa side ng G2, mapapa-timeout ka talaga. Mapapakamot ka ng ulo. Internalizing na that guy was 1 HP. Valen had the shot, the clear shot. Nakatakas siya with 1 HP and he wasn't able to close it off. That round was wild para sa side ng Heretics, and to find that round and take it away from G2, ma-shake din talaga. Ma-shushooked itong mga players ng G2 at mapapa-timeout sila to really try and recover from that round that they just lost.
Ang hirap makarecover doon dahil ang laki ng pressure ng 2-0 scoreline.
Ay, may dadagdag pa ako dyan.
Oh,
yung nag-start tong round na to, yung control nila sa A main as well as A-Rubble, si Patitek yung may hold niyan. And nag-prowler actually, si Trent dito sa hold nila sa A-Rubble na yun. 1v1 yon kanina. Hindi siya nakita ng prowler and Patitek was able to cut him off and kill him off. Kaya sila nagkaroon ng magandang space sa B.
Bukod sa awareness na meron sila, no, talagang hindi nila mabibitawan kung ano bang control na secure na nga nila against the side of G2. And speaking of G2, this is a good start. Wala na ngayon si Patitek, the main threat earlier from the previous round. But this time, alam naman natin, kahit anong alanganin pagdating sa numbers ng Heretics, may laban pa rin sila. At the moment, C-site na ngayon ang pwede nilang gambalain. Pero setups, pero bumatras lang din kaagad kasi dito si Leaf eh. Inibigay niya na lang yung site.
Well, at least dalawang swarm yung nag-pop para sa side ng Heretics dito. If they wanna take C, the orb is the problem from the Viper. Yun na lang ang kailangan nilang isipin. Pero with the showstopper, mukhang ibibigay ata ng G2 yung space na yan. Again, yung iba sa kanila dito, maliit lang o konti yung buy and the Stinger. Boo already planting the spike. C is very much open for them.
Also, some of them manggagaling pa ng waterfall. Pero, magsistay on input lang ngayon. Wood inside of the site. Together with the Nightfall, this creates an opening and also the weakness laban na nga ngayon kina Wood dahil vulnerable nga sila all together, matatamaan pa kahit papaano pwede ng mga Prowlers. Now an opening for Leaf to take down Boo, and this time it's all left down to Venjifishy. Mukhang hindi niya pa abot siguro on this position ngayon, yung Spike.
Oh! Nakakuha pa siya ng dalawa pero hindi niya mapapatay yung Spike Diffuser dito kahit wall bangable yung spot. 3-6 para sa side ng G2. Ang ganda ng C-hold nila kung tutusin no? Parang it's just a matter of time before they find a way to shut down players from Heretics side. Sadyang may mga clutch players lang talaga tong Heretics.
Oo. Ibang klase yung mga multi-kills, especially for Heretics na kahit anong pressure na may bibigay ng G2, they can still work around with the numbers and isolation na kailangan nilang ipanalo nga when it comes to the duels at again. But now, the lockdown is available for Team Heretics. We have here the Hunt. Kasama pa ngayon ng Paranoia, may exhaust altogether. Lahat ng mga duels, utility na meron na nga sa kanilang ibubunga ngayon, going all the way from Rubble to A-site. Pero sa lahat ng mga ginawa nilang eksena dito sa Rubble, hindi pa rin naman sila fully on magko-commit dahil wala pa silang napapatay kahit isa.
I think Heretics is really understanding na kailangan nila ma-figure out na makakuha ng space sa A dahil C, it's just too hard. It's easily retakeable para sa side ng G2 and they've been having successful rounds mula doon sa C site nila. But when it comes to A, yan ang hindi pa nasasagot so far ng G2 dito. Walang Nightfall this time and instead, lockdown na ang kailangan nilang atrasan dahil the space must be given out for the post plant.
Ito yung isa sa mga commendable retakes na gagawin ng G2 Just go in with a sandwich play. But then again, all threats ang mabibigay na ngayon ng Team Heretics dahil meron nga dito manggagaling from Secret. We have even Patitech not giving any presence. Tapos si Venjifishy makakapatay pa ng isa. Potentially can be also a 2K. Pero all things considered, may ibit pa nga sila yata ngayon ni Patitech dahil manggagaling pa siya ngayon ng stairs. Reyes though, taking down the showstopper from Icy. All down to 2 players sa matitira. Jonapi wala pang magagawa ngayon. Hindi pa malaman ni Valen kung ano ang dapat niyang unahin pa dahil all eyes are on him right now after niyang mapatay ngayon si Wood. Patitech naman ang pwedeng bumulaga but Patitech is going down. This time, Boo, all the way from up top, not gonna work. It's all up to Riens. Pero time did not work in favor of Valen.
Ganda nung re-smoke niya sa sarili niya to play around with but those are exit frags. Punas muna ng mouse. Mainit si Patitech para dito sa game na to, para dito sa rounds na nakikita natin. And again, thanks to the lockdown, ang laki ng space na nakuha ng Team Heretics dito. They were able to really get 3, they were able to get A main, they were able to get Heaven even. There's just a lot of control that is left unpunished, lalo na nakakahanap pa ng kill bago mamatay yung mga nag-aantay dun sa mga posisyon na yon. So it was just a number disadvantage talaga para sa side ng G2.
Same scenario to all over. Teo, 7-3. On a half like this, dominating and convincing yung mga plays ng Team Heretics. The clutch are already happening. Nahuli pa kaagad si Leaf. Wala na nga yata siya magagawa pa dito kundi matulungan nga lang din ng kaisa-isang player na natitira here on C. But then, such an opening naman ang ginawa ngayon ni Boo. Taking down 3 players here on A na hindi inaakala na dito pa rin pala siya ngayon na magsistay. This time, 5-on-1. What more can Jonapi do?
Yung mga ganong posisyon sa C kanina mula kay na Leaf. Kumbaga, may kasamang dasal yun na sana hindi mo i-check, sana walang mag-check. But Team Heretics knows better pagdating sa pag-clear ng angles. Actually, parang first time nga lang ata nila nag-creep up dito sa parting to But they were still diligent on clearing out corners here and making sure the combinations of utility play will also hit. But like you said, Boo? Exactly. Ganon yun, literal. Wala silang pera So it was a low buy. It was just up to the raw firepower duel ng isang Vandal versus a Sheriff.
Unfortunate din na parang nag-isa-isa din sila ng pick kanina. Good enough sana kung sabay-sabay sila. But then again, the firepower is not into their favor. The eco must go on dahil isa na nga yung last round na natitira na nga ito sa half na ito. Pero after nga ng paulit-ulit ng chance nilang ginagawa na lang din atensyon na pagsisik nga dito here on A is the ability for them to have a go signal na gamitin itong Viper Spit on C.
To add on dun sa last round, gauge na sana sila sa showstopper na na-shutdown agad. Here comes lang ang narinig nila. Wala ng party dahil tinawid niya yung wall na yon. This Odin doesn't really damage or wala pang nakikita o nakahanap itong Odin na to mula kay Patty Tech. First time ata for this round. But this is a one-way smoke, a nightfall being set by Team Heretics. Lahat ilalabas na ng utility dito knowing last round to, HG.
Hindi muna sila magpapapigay-pugay ngayon pagdating sa info. Now si Boo, late pa ng reaction pero makakakuha pa siya ng kill. Hello? Viper Flip naman ang available ngayon to secure the site. And hello my friends, sabi daw ni Rhea sa pag-open niya ng doors. Now si Woot naman ang makakatakal down ng isa pa. IC entrant na lang ang tanging natitira. I think this is still doable pero let's see. Now kung kakayanin pa ba makapang-isolate ng fight ng mga utility nila dahil they are left vulnerable if ever man na tumawid sila sa smoke na ito given to us by Patitech.
Tapos naka-Odin pa. Yung makakatapat mo, Benji Fishy also having a good angle here. Tamang pre-fire lang kung saan nakaplant yung spike and that's already a round win para sa Heretic side. Complete shutdown para sa G2 from map 1 to map 3.
Understand dahil kaya naman nilang manalo from the past 2 series na nakalaban nila yung Heretics and now this time given the space, given the time na hindi sila nagkatapat from the last few days ng laban ng ating playoffs ng Masters Shanghai is nagkaroon na rin naman siguro character development din and all over the place na rin kasi ditong nakikita nating pipin down ang G2. 9-3, na-mention ito ng mga Paladins kanina na baka sakaling mapin down nga or magkaroon ng comeback pero yun nga ba ay maaari?
I do hope though na magkaroon ng conversion itong timeout or yung halftime actually para sa side ng G2 to really have a breather. The thing is, dahil nga 9-3 yung score mo, ito na yung pinaka-importanting pistol round nila sa series na to and they have to really win this pistol or else mapupunta na naman tayo sa double-digit scoreline na mahirap habulin at bawal nang magkamali. There's just so much that they can or they could have done dun sa first half natin na na-mention mo nga. But it's just Heretics really having good trades. Makikita mo na dapat lugi sila pero nakakahanap pa rin sila ng isa at least na pick off before sila mawala. And it just dwindles down the numbers para sa side ng G2 to the point na hindi sila maka-retake dahil nga kulang sila sa tao.
Alam mo, isa sa mga reason, isa rin sa mga points na na-mention mo kanina is that yung clutching capabilities kasi ng Heretics ay kakaiba eh. Kahit may matira na nga sa kanila dito, kahit hindi maging pabor sa kanila yung round, kahit kulang na sila lahat-lahat, they can still manage to turn around the tables here laban sa G2 na to the point that there are some flaws talaga na hindi maiiwasan ng G2 na paulit-ulit nilang kinocommit. I love what Heretics did earlier on their attacking side na tansya lang muna going into A, batuhan ng mga utilities until they not fully commit at makapag-rotate nga to another site at hindi magiging ready nga yung site na dinedefend nga dito ni either ni Leaf or kaya naman na iba pang players dito like Jonopi from G2. But yeah, now 9-3, will this be a curse or a blessing for Team Heretics?
Daming puro mga Viper spit yung nakita natin kanina. Dahil nga naman din yung top fragger mo, yung Viper din naman. Actually, kung tutuusin, sina Boo and Patty Tech have been really going in for the rounds and getting multiple kills time to time. At malaking bagay yon para sa kanila. Pero dito muna tayo, pistolan, hit and run. Yan ang gusto nilang gawin. 1 damage, 1 kill is enough for them.
Sobrang saklap no and the pistol round kung saan kailangan pang manalo ng G2 sa pistol round na ito. Alam mo, most of the time talaga Ayun nga, wala pa silang magiging smoke dito makakapag-isolate ng play dahil nga yung ball ni Jonah P ay nailapag na in A, but at least Wood going in for the double is already huge enough dahil dadalawa na lang kaagad ang natitira na win ng
Nangyari sa hunt na yun. Kalahati lang. Bayad. Oo, binayaran na yung hunt, guys. Eto na si Leaf. Alam mo, actually, kay Leaf, best map niya to eh. As far as I know, isa to sa mga best maps niya na talagang nagsashine siya as a sentinel. Pero hindi talaga niya magawa ng paraan masyado tong Heretics pagdating sa rotation. Pero the kills, tingnan natin kung mahahanap niya pa dahil magiging 2v2 pa rin to dahil sa kanya.
Kahit pa paano, doable ito for G2. They just need to just wisely fight it off. Not that kind of wise dahil ngayon si Boo ngayon ang makakapatay laban kay Leaf. Jonah P na lang ang tanging natitira. He needs to not go up the zipline dahil yun na nga, the time is there para nga makapag-push pa further ang dalawang natitira for Heretics. So it is what it is. We have the double-digit scoreline already for Heretics.
Pinlano niya na yun eh. Kaso may hunt bigla. So kinailangan niyang magtago sa loob ng smoke. Pero kung nagawa niyang umakyat, then it would have been a different story out there. Unfortunately, that's really not the case. Heretics, pinagpala sila sa timing sa araw na to. Malala.
Grabe. 3 rounds, 3 game na magkakasunod. Laging napapaboran yung timing, laging napapaboran yung mga clutch potential. And we don't even see halos yung clutch potential nga for G2 eh. Parang bang hindi nila nasasabayan kung anong init ang meron ngayon for Heretics. So now, Heretics, all they have to just do is wait inside of the sites or kaya naman just head-on collision dahil wala namang nagkakabatuhan ng utility ngayon going into rubble.
It's a patience game, lalo na pagdating sa mga one-way smokes na to. It's not really a forced buy para sa side ng G2. It's just Jonah P na merong ang Marshall pagdating sa round na to. Sabay-sabay, strength by numbers ata ang gusto nilang laruin. But you do see na si Wood, the discipline is there. Alam, okay na siya sa info. Okay na siya doon. Kung mayroon siya makuha ang pick-off, swerte. Pero magmamamba out at magmamamba out talaga siya.
Hindi niya na ipinipilit, no? Kahit nakapatay na nga siya kanina ng first initial kill niya. There's a difference pa rin kasi pagdating sa mga rounds in the eco. So now, hindi niya pwedeng kulitin nga to the point na parang nagiging impatient na rin halos yung G2. They are the attackers now on this round, on this half. So they need to at least be precise or kaya maging concise na sa kung saan na nga bang site sila pupunta. Dahil at the meantime, yung site or yung spike rather ay nasa A. Mabubulaga nila itong Guardian ngayon ni Wood. Nandito pa si Reyes for another. And now, hindi na makikibo at ro-rotate na lang din basta-basta sinapatitek mula sa A site pa.
Oof, through doors, si Valen ay masya-shutdown din. Spike drop sa harapan nila with 12 seconds remaining on the clock. Sa loob pa na drop yung spike na to. And now, Icy, alam na ang pwesto niya and that's on switch. 11-3. Complete domination mula sa side ng Team Heretics. And if G2 cannot stop this momentum, I don't think na baka kayanin tong makabalik. Lalo na momentum sa economy pa lang, lugi na sila.
Oo. Naku. Halos most or mga 75 to 80% chance kasi lagi on the third round yung Heretics na nananalo. So, marang may potential pang ma-deny nga yung eco na naging pabor na ngayon para sa G2 for this half, for this third round of this half. Pero titingnan natin ha, baka sakali kasi maisahan na nila finally yung Heretics and win out, potentially counter out the laging nagiging momentum nga dito for the trade-offs. But now, sa pang-win down na ginagawa ngayon nila Boo onto that rotating doors, hindi tuloy malaman ni Jonah P kung kaya niya bang alert to going into A side.
Just throwing in yung mga swarms dito. Making sure na yung mga bots or mga swarms masira. But there's not really a trap pagdating sa B site. At tignan mo yung trap na sineset nila dito kung sakali mang mag-B ang mga players dito ng G2. And so far, at least nakuha nila yung rubble control, yung A-main control. But what's the next step? Doon tayo magkakatalo.
Immediately go signal yun, no? Pagkasira nilang yung either ng utility nga going into B. nagkaroon na kaagad ng 3-man setup, 3-man cross ang Team Heretics na dito naman din pwedeng maging handa yung G2 dahil nakapatay na rin naman sila ng dalawa. Although walang naging bawi doon si Wood dahil halos 3 na rin naman na ang tumapat sa kanya, and this time it's all up to Rians and also Boo, who only has a Guardian and a Ghost. So at least kinda casualty siguro pwede pa nilang magawa, pero sana hindi na ba magkaroon pa ng damage dito ngayon ng G2.
G2, they just have to hold this post plant. Rians, ang bilis pumitik. Nakakatakot. Ang bilis yung makakita ng kalaban, pero hindi niya nakuha yung shot na yun. Hindi niya nakuha yung kill. And still, they're still finding players here. Nag-hunting pa rin sila. They do have a smoke off para dito sa spike, pero yung hunt na yan, at least masasecure na walang tao dyan. Everyone's hopping out of their location, and kung 4v2 ang labanan, malulugi ka talaga. That was a bonus round na hindi nila na-convert finally.
Oo nga. Finally, round na ngayon na makukuha na ng G2, at least, I think 7 more nga ang kailangan nilang habulin. Pero it's a start. Buti na lang talaga na hindi sila dumiretso going into B or yung B main mismo na entrance dahil nga again, nasira tuloy yung formation, yung triangle formation na meron nga kanina ang Heretics. So they need to at least magkaroon nga ng ganong klaseng pagdadecipher on the positionings na hinohold ng Heretics at ma-bait out pa kung anong pwedeng pushes na gagawin nila and positionings dahil sa pangapagsira nila ng setup lang din nitong ni Benji Fishy.
The smoke really covering tong tracks kahit paano ng kumukuha ng orb, no? It's a setup from G2 side. Again, it's one of their favorite smokes so far na nakita din natin kanina. At kung mapapansin mo si Wood, naka-O din na. So once na makarinig siya kahit paano ng switch or anything A-site related, baka makakita tayo ng wallbang dito. Ang tanong, tatama ba? Ay, mukhang hindi.
Niiwasan na nga ng G2. Sana hindi na talaga sila mamandoha pa dito dahil again, they have their best chance na nga manatili in this kind of momentum. Consistency when it comes to their eco. Vandals, rifles, na makakatapat nila din laban sa Heretics. O din pa na alam nilang nasa A na. So might as well rotate na nga going into another site. Pero problema, mabilis naman din makakapag-rotate going into C. Ang tatlo na nanggaling na nga ng B from Heretics.
Lockdown initiated para sa side ng G2 dito. Kailangan nila makapag-set up ng maganda. IC on the other hand, taking control over CT side. Pero yung paranoia na yan tatama. Mapipilitan silang umatras dito kahit papano. Yung Prowler na tamaan pa si Jonah P. Pero na-shutdown niya pa rin naman kahit papano. Possession when it comes to long nandyan na. Pero mukhang doors mabubuksan ba mula sa side ng TH? Mukhang all side to mula CT.
Lahat sila mapo-force back na nga dito. Hindi pa malaman ni Trent kung saan na nga siya magpipick dahil ang daming naging distraction all the way from heaven, all the way from the platform. And now, this is a good opportunity for Jonah to win out the round dahil napigilan na nga yung pag-half defuse. Pero look at that. All the bodies are being taken down by Valen. It's all up to Rians. Pero what more can he do? Lalo na taken over pa siya ni John dito sa kanya naging position. And now, mahabol pa rin naman kahit pa paano ni G2 yung panalo nila for that round.
Gandang creep up mula dito kay Jonah as well. And kung tutuusin, no, lahat ng napatay ng G2 doon really didn't matter because Wood is just defusing the spike at that point. Ang importante makuha nila yung nagde-defuse na yun, and that was exactly one person on the site trying to get that spike down. And buti na lang nahuli to ng G2 and they knew better. But this is an A fast take towards Rubble right now. Rians, on the other hand, naka-ready yung kanyang magiging seize dito. Paint Shells combination, also prepared, pero hindi tatama dun sa last player. Instead, they open up doors. Boo, not successful on taking one down. Instead, they move back, regroup, reset.
Naka-vandal pa man din. Kung naka-vandal pa man din si Boo siguro kanina, mapapatay niya nga siguro yung na-seize at na-patials na kanina dahil yun na yung idea eh. Unfortunately, there's just a difference when it comes to the buys on this round ngayon at mukhang slowly creeping up na ngayon ang G2 dahil kahit papaano na-exhaust na nila yung utility. They just need to be ready when it comes to the lurks, when it comes to the flanks, one-way smoke, and with that hunt, mapower-force back naman ngayon si Veggie Fishy. Sana hindi sila magkaroon ng casualty dito ha dahil again, buy round ito ng G2. Kung sakali na ma-drop down yung mga guns sila, there's a possibility magka-comeback pa ngayon ang Heretics for this round.
On the other hand, kung mapapansin mo si Patty Tech, medyo dikit yung amba niya when it comes to B main. Again, like you said, Stingers ang hawak nila dito. Pero mag-i-invest sila happily ng Nightfall to make sure na at least yung trouble na yon mabawasan, maiwasan nila. Benji Fishy though, not detected by this. Instead, they find Patitech towards B. So that's one good shot already. At least makat off nila yung magiging lurk.
Ipit pa rin sa waterfall si Benji Fishy, waiting out sa mga magiging forces nila and also the follow-ups na tatlong natitira na lang naman na for Team Heretics. But this time kasi, they're just waiting inside of the site. They're just taking their time para nga protektahan itong spike. At lalo na't ngayon, nasa stairs lang naman sila nakapwesto. Magkaka-opportunity pa ngayon si Icy na makadalawa. This time, Wood, mahadidig pa dahil doon sa wallbang na nga na iyon. Pares lang low. Pero this time, there's just the numbers advantage ngayon at take over nila Icy altogether.
A flawless round for side of G2 and exactly what they need right now. Malinis na round, malinis na economy. All is good, sabi nga nila dito so far. And to be fair, kayang-kayang makomeback ng G2 to kung sakali man. Attacker-sided map, you have 3 sites to go to. It's really how you play out in those maps. That's what's important. Kung makakat off mo yung rotation, isang pagkakamali, ika nga, madaling mabaliktad. Lalo na nabigyan nila ng masyadong maraming rounds itong Heretics dun sa attacking din.
Naka-reserve pa man din yung mga timeout yun ng Heretics, no? Wala silang naging timeout kanina in the first half. So, this time, ang dami nilang pang cut off ng momentum na pwede mag-sail up in favor of of G2. So, at the meantime, pwede tayong kabahan for G2 dahil kung sakali man, this can be a possibility for a comeback or para nga madenay na nga yung 6 na pwede pang madagdagan in favor of G2. But Heretics, again, kailangan nila mangamba dahil yung comeback potential ng G2 nandun pa rin naman. And again, this is one of the favorite maps nga ng G2 eh.
With how consistent they have been then so far, I think ito pa lang yung pangalawang timeout na nagamit nila sa buong 3 maps. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's mostly G2 na kailangan talaga mag-timeout dito. Let's see if they can convert something out of that because meron silang Nightfall. Meron silang Showstopper. They're also a few orbs away from that Viper Spit as well. So, pretty big utility plays coming in. Si IC, meron naman siyang Showstopper dito. Kanina, hindi pa masyado nakukuha dahil lagi na siya shutdown yung Showstopper na yon. Pero malay mo, ito na yung round na yon, HG.
Oo. Kasi, syempre, kailangan niya lang din naman is info and also, pang force back lang din naman ito laban sa Heretics na usually, yun din naman halos ang ginagawa ni Wood kanina, mag-Showstopper going to Waterfall and then fully secured na kaagad nila yung site. But this time, this can be a different story for IC. They can be aggressive and also be consistent on taking in the site, taking in the kung ano mang piliin na nga nila at the moment dahil wala namang ding nagpapamigay ng info from C dahil Benji Fishy holding on to his ground. He has the utility, he has the setup. So, parang gusto niyang gamitin ito wisely pa.
Magandang setup to. Kaso nahuli si Wood. Ang importante yung paranoia kung sakaling magpupush to, magko-connect. Pero mukhang atras yung mga players dito ng G2 instead. Patty Tech secures 1 and that's towards Leaf. Alam niyang lurk to pero alam niyang may isa pa because of that Prowler. It's Trent that can open doors and that can go rotate towards C-side. Hindi tumama yung Showstopper na yun. Instead, si Benji Fishy buhay pa. Ang kaso nga lang mabilis na trade mula kay Rians dito. 2-1 so far. Make it a 2-2 na ngayon na bura and on to a match point.
My God. When we already thought na ito na nga talaga yung comeback potential ng G2 since it's already scaling after winning the 3rd round of this half. Hindi pala ito mangyayari dahil caught off guard si Leaf from that moment. And look at that. Hindi man lang narattle sa Benji Fishy, hindi niya nga tinaguan halos yung Showstopper dito. He knew for a fact na kahit papaano, ibabato na kaagad nila yung Showstopper do.
I mean, if you've lost 2 times against G2 on a series na kinambakan ka pa, hindi ka ba ganito magre-react? Lalo na kung super one-sided lahat ng mga naging mapa mo. I would react the same, honestly. Ngayon, si Woot naman yung may showstopper. Mapapatama ba to? They do have a Viper Spit para sa side ng G2, but they have to find a site first. That's the biggest problem they have so far.
Tatakal daw na naman sila ng site na kung saan tatlo naman ngayon ang nakaabang na nga in A. Sobrang dami ng utility na naman ng pinagbababato nila going into Hubble. Pero still, committed pa rin naman. G2 trying to at least have a lead from this push. Pero kasi sa pag-open nga nila ng secret door dito, there's also the possibility for a paranoia pa. Now, Showstopper comes into play. We have a good seize para at least ma-force back nila kaagad si Wood. Pero better yet, we have a good trade pa rin naman for Jonah P. This time, mamba-out na lang din muna para kinabu and the rest of the gang. But now, Patitech pa, makakakuha pa, makakasecure ng pangalawang kill nila. Pero at least, there was a trade. Oh no, walang naging takas si Benji Fishy sa pagkakataon na yun.
Tumira siya ng tres, literal. Sila ay na-stress. Team Heretics down with 2 players remaining here. Tatlo naman sa kabila para sa side ng G2 at nakahold na sila sa kanilang mga post-plant. Boo has to isolate fights. Alam niya na kung saan si IC dito. Isang fake TP mula sa kanya onto the corner and nandun na. Pinagdikit pero hindi tinadhana. Nakaramdam si Boo dito and he finally gets the shot in. Rienz on the other hand, siya na lang ang only player remaining. Alam niya, isa B-main pero nagtatago pa rin sa likod si Valen na hindi niya makukuha at hindi niya mapipitas. G2, 7-12.
That's still 5 more rounds, pero it was definitely a good round for them to secure laban sa Heretics, lalo na was so close for them na maipit na naman dahil nga doon sa ginawang showstopper coming in by Wood. Pero sa pag-secure nila ng B-site, it went on flawlessly after nilang mapasabugan nga ng grenades dito si Benji Fishy. At natakal down pa kaagad si Boo after niya makakuha ng pick-off. So now, this is a good, definitely start for G2. But let's see dahil meron na tayong Viper Spit and a lockdown. So retake is the best potential na naman dito ngayon ng Heretics.
An immediate one-way smoke at willing silang labanan yung lurk dito kung sakali man, pero nag-reposition sila. Nakarinig sila ng B. Actually, may magandang positioning dito kung sakali. Si Leaf kung magle-lurk up siya, but the thing is, they have to fight for their lives here. At si Valen nga ang unang mawawala with just a stinger onto the face. Drop pa yung spike sa harapan nila. Another swarm to force out the players. Ang ganda nung setup! Ang ganda nung traps! Ang ganda nung swarms! It was a perfect opportunity for them to use all up.
Akala, they had us in the first half. They had us on that potential na drop down na nga kaagad yung spike. But then again, with that kind of setup, with that kind of utility play, wala na rin talaga sila magagawa pa. Trinay naman ni Wood na maka-exit na nga using in the satchels. Pero this time, it's already enough. Now, 4 more rounds ang matitira ngayon for G2 para mahabol na nga itong 12 scoreline match point ng Heretics.
Definitely doable para sa side ng G2 dito. Lalo na nagkakaroon na at least ng momentum yung iba sa mga players nila. Like I said, nagkakaroon na rin ng synergy yung mga utility play dito ng G2. Yung swarms, yung nades. Alam nila kung paano mang-ipit ng mga players na kailangan nilang ipitin. And like I said, diba, Leaf, so far, pagdating sa Lotus, isa to sa mga mapa na high performance siya. And I still stand by it. And we're seeing it right now dahil dun sa mga lurk up na hindi talaga mabigay.
Sobrang slow start lang talaga ngayon yung G2, dahil nga hindi nila mapigilan yung momentum from Wood. There's always a possibility for Patitech to go in for the clutch and also the wild, crazy plays na nakikita natin for their quick repositioning. And speaking of reposition, di na muna magdadecide ngayon na ang B-site para tahakin na nga ng G2. But then again, all comes to worst for Jonah. We have the utilities waiting out and Patitech nga ang nakasecure ng info na ito.
Tsaka may showstopper na agad si IC dito ulit So, makikita mo talaga na nagkakaroon na rin siya ng momentum. Ang tanong, meron ba mahahanap yung showstopper na to? Wala pa rin talaga, HG. Kahit anong showstopper, mapa-attacking, defending, kaso naiwan nila na, oh my goodness, that was such a big mistake. Now, Trent, siya na lang ang natitira. Yung lockdown, yung pressure, nandun na. And that's gonna be the game. third time is really the charm para sa Team Heretics.
What a team, what a game, what a series. 3-0 in a best of 5 and they are going into the grand finals to face off Gen G. Bukas na lang din yan dito sa Masters Shanghai and it was incredible. What a series dahil hindi nila nabitawan yung momentum na meron sila. We had Wood who went on crazy, Patatek sa kanyang mga nagiging lurks, Riens with the support system that he has para magkaroon lagi ng mga blinds na laging na lang din nakabuntot dito kina Wood in the rest of the game. So incredible ang naging series na talaga para sa Heretics.
Sabi nga nila, di ba, if you just allow Heretics to get on the rounds, lalo na sa double-digit scoreline, lalo na sa ganun kalaking gap, there's just no more room for errors, no more room for mistakes. And on the last round, they made a huge one. Dahil doon, natapos ang lahat ng ganun-ganun lang into a 3-0. A very clean game coming in from Heretics. They look stronger as ever. They look scary coming into the finals.
Kaya nga eh. Pero at least, masasabi natin, Genji can still come up with a chance laban na sa side nga ngayon ng Team Heretics. Pero unfortunately for G2 kahit wala man lang silang halos naging bawi talaga for all of those 3 maps na nilaro nila laban sa side, laban sa Team Heretics dahil it's always 2 digits, 13 to just 1 single digit mula sa side ang G2 na nakuha nila sa mga maps na nagdaan.
This has been a pretty wild ride para sa isang semifinals. Daming mga moments dito coming in from Heretics side. They just look pristine. They just look crisp pagdating dito sa match na to, sa series na to. I don't think that out of every round that we've seen, yung mistakes nila, natabunan lahat kung meron man.
I just want to take my time to enjoy no? Itong highlight natin ba naman na ito? Dahil, again, those multi-kills talaga na lagi na lang din natin nakikita for Heretics. Wala mang kahit meron mang naging ace for G2 but they were not able to amplify much more after getting in that ace and also their potential nga magkaroon ng comeback. So ito pa, wild ride para kay Benji Fishy to hold on to C-side.
Such a good hold. I mean, hindi man natin masyado nasasabi, pero Riens also such a pillar of this game that we are looking at. Ang dami niyang mga multi-kills din as well na impactful to a point. Pero puntahan muna natin yung interview ni Yinsu.
Shanghai Grand finalists. Before we get into this interview, Mercedes-Benz Arena, show some love to Patatek.
让我们恭喜 TH 拿下了进入总决赛的这张门票，让我们把掌声送给他们。
How does that feel, Patatek?
That's amazing. That's the best thing in my life. Legit.
刚刚他问 Patatek 现在感受怎么样，他说感受真的太棒了，这是我人生当中最棒的瞬间。
Now, not many teams have to face the same opponent 3 times in one tournament. Not many teams have to do that against G2, either a team that you have a lot of history with. So how does it feel for you to be able to beat them the moment when it mattered the most to get into the grand finals?
其实在这次赛事当中，已经和 G2 3次见面，进行了三番战了。那我们也知道 Patatek 选手可能跟 G2 有一些渊源啊。那现在终于击败了他们，感受怎么样呢？
I think the experience we got from the first 2 losses built us as a team like incredibly. I think we learned a lot, and yeah, it was the most important game, and they crumbled, and we didn't. So yeah, it was an easy game.
其实从之前的2次交手，虽然我们失利了，但是我们从中学到了非常多。而今天的比赛，我们能够将他们打败，获得了今天的这场胜利。
I've been hearing you say this, I'm just a stand-in, I'm just a stand-in. I don't like that, Patatek. But for those people that don't know, once upon a time when this game first came out, you were one of the best, you know, in Europe, in the world. There was a long time where you didn't even lose a game, but you never really had an opportunity to stand on a stage like this. So what does it mean to you to be able to get in a grand finals like this after all of the time you spent grinding?
其实之前 PaTiTech 选手经常会说自己啊，我是来救急的，是替补。但是很多人其实可能不知道，之前 PaTiTech 选手其实是非常多选手之中的翘楚，很长时间是一段时间里他都没有输过任何一场比赛。那今天在之前没有机会拿到世界性的舞台，今天终于站上了，现在感受怎么样呢？
I think back then it was a different game, so we were winning a lot, and it was also COVID times, so we couldn't really like travel to events. I feel like if you would travel to events, it would be a completely different story. But yeah, I spent like 4 years grinding myself like crazy. People didn't want to pick me up because of some history that I don't really know about. But I feel like I proved everyone wrong, and I'm here standing on the grand final stage here in Shanghai, and yeah, it just feels super amazing.
其实之前的那一段时间呢，对于我来说可能是不同的游戏，但是我一直都是非常非常的努力。在这4年之间，我一直在坚持，一直在刻苦。即使有一些队伍可能因为过往的一些历史并不愿意接受我，但是今天我还是站在了能够去往总决赛的这个舞台上，这个道路上。所以我真的感觉非常的兴奋、开心，也很光荣，感觉。
Well, you have a chance for a trophy as well, not just the grand final, but you have to take down Gen G in order to get that trophy. Everyone else is saying that they're the best team in the tournament. Do you agree? And how do you beat a team like Gen G?
其实现在我们就有机会去到总决赛了嘛，但是你们将要面对的是 GNG， 很多人都说他是最强的一支队伍，那你同意这种说法吗？以及你将会怎样赢下这场胜利呢？
I wouldn't say they are the best team in the tournament. I mean, you can beat every team here. Like the top 4 was the best 4 teams in the world. So, like we did it. Like we did a lower bracket run. We could beat everyone, and we did. And that's the mindset I'm gonna coming into the grand final against Gen G. And yeah, we're just gonna play our game, focus on our fundamentals as always. And yeah, we're gonna smash them, hopefully.
我可能并不会说 GNG 它是整个赛事当中最强的一支队伍，因为我会觉得前4的队伍我们都是非常强、非常棒的，我们都有机会去试一试、去争一争。我们也是经历了非常多才来到了这里，我们会在决赛上像往常一样打出我们最好的东西，打出我们做好我们的基本功的一些东西，所以我觉得我们是可以的。
Thank you very much, Luna, for translations, and thank you very much, PaTiTech, guys. One more time. Team Heretic. They'll be back tomorrow, and they'll be taking.
Thank you for having me, guys. You are amazing, all of you.
Love how dominating it really was para tapusin na nga ang Heretics itong lower bracket finals run nila. And unfortunately for G2, wala na, ito na talaga yun. This is Heretics going up against Gen G. Tomorrow na nandun yan sa ating grand finals.
Today, kinalaban nila ang team for the 3rd time na nakatapat nila sa tournament na to. Pero bukas, ang makakalaban nila ay never pa nilang nakatapat all the way from the upper bracket itong Gen G. At sana, on form lahat ng players bukas dahil isang matinding matchup ang posible nating makita sa Grand Finals, lalo na kung lahat sila online. It's gonna be a crazy game. I can already imagine yung magiging Lotus map nila kasi feeling ko ilalabas din nila yon dun sa best of 5 na yon. But honestly, Heretics look scary para sa araw na to, HG. What are your expectations tomorrow?
5 games. Dahil ang hirap sabihin kung paano nga pong magkakaroon nga ng lunas laban or ng, alam mo yung pang-counter out lang din dito sa mga naging aggression, sa mga naging comfortability nila Woot, at paano ba yun nga na matigilan ng GG ang ganitong pagraragasa nga ng players from Woot and the rest of the gang of Heretics. So again, sobrang crazy ang magiging ride natin ito bukas.
Okay lang yan. Willing akong mag-cast ng 5 games bukas. Walang problema, lalo na kung ganito kalaban or ganito hindi yung magiging labanan natin for the grand finale tomorrow. So, with that, syempre maraming salamat HG. Taylor nga pala ang inyong mga naging casters para sa araw na to. Grand finale, Asia Pacific, maglalaro bukas. Supportahan natin yung Gen G para sa grand finals. Baka ito na yung unang trophy ng Asia Pacific, di natin alam. But, without further ado, maraming salamat and see you guys tomorrow muli.
Saying like you're surprised you're here at this point.
Yeah.
I remember when you were back watching Boaster and Fnatic have all the success. You'd be watch partying their games. You were a massive fan. Now they're out of the tournament, and you probably didn't see, but Boaster did a halftime interview where he was up there talking about your team and your journey and what a player you've kind of become now. What's it like to have those roles reversed now and be in this position
Man, that is really cool. I mean, yeah, Bose is the player I look up to the most. Like his journey, you know, it was kind of when I first started watching Valorant where they weren't like the greatest. Like they would make these, I mean, they were called chokers, right?
Yeah,
for a while.
the choke-natic narrative,
And then, like, eventually they just started winning, man. Like, and I think that like story of just like Bose just not giving up, I think it's really, really cool, and it's something I aspire to be like. So yeah, no, I appreciate Bose a lot. I think he's the coolest player.
Yeah, and I want to reflect now a little bit on this particular game against G2. It's very rare to play a team 3 times. So for you and your team, after losing both games and also losing them in a fashion, especially with that comeback, the 11-1 down loss that you guys suffered, what did it take to both rally the mental to play this team again and to come out with the prep to dominate them the way you did today?
I mean, if I'm being dead honest, I knew we were better than them. Like after the second game, like sure, we lost when we were 11-2 up, right? Like we shouldn't have done that. But the fact we even got to that point, like I think that shows that we are just like better than them. I think it was kind of on us that we didn't close it out. So yeah, I think that was the main thing. Like we're super confident knowing that we are better than them and that we had everything that it took to win today.
What did prep look like? Knowing you were going to play a team for the 3rd time, were you even necessarily focused on what they were going to do and what they were trying to do, or is it really just like, hey, let's dial up and focus in on our fundamentals and what we know we do well?
I think a lot of it is our fundamentals, but I mean, a huge part of why we are winning these games is due to our coaching staff. Like Boo, Weber, Neil, and Pablo, our analysts, like all of those guys put in like 110%. Like for me, all I need to focus on is kind of just playing the game. They tell me if something like about what they're going to do, if it's going to affect me, and I can just focus on aiming. Like it's as simple as that, and I think that's why we're also like so good. They don't tell us too much, right?
Sure.
They tell us what we need to know, and that's it. But Boo, you know, they know everything about how they're going to play, default, exec, like just everything, and I think that's a huge reason why we're winning.
Besides the overall performance you guys have had, I think the other player in particular that has really surprised me, besides of course Woot, has been Patatek, who came in as a sub. He played with you guys before, but I think a lot of people were thinking that not having Mini Boo is going to massively change how you played, but it seems like Patty's just fit back in perfectly. What has he been like as a teammate to step up to this task and now perform to this level?
I really don't think there's many people in the world that could do what Patty has done. Like you know, he knows us really well. We know him really well. So it was quite easy to get him back into the team, but he still had to learn a lot of new stuff. Like how we changed stuff from since Miniboo and Woot came in. We had to teach him all that. And the fact that he's playing so good, even while having to learn new stuff, it's just like, it's incredible. And his team play, like his communication, it's all like top tier. So yeah, it's been really, really nice.
Woot, you mentioned, and we've got to talk about him because he's taken the tournament by storm. He's probably one of the fastest players I think I've ever seen, and you've had the privilege of playing with him, you scrim with him, you spend time with him, but I even saw instances today on that stage where you looked at him and you were like, what in the world was that?
Insane. I remember specifically, it was a Jet Icebox. It was a Jet on Icebox.
The 4K.
Yes, with the knives. Man, me and Ryan's Enes, we were speaking after, and we were like, man, that's probably the best clip I've seen in my life. Like the fact that I got to witness that live, I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed.
It's like a dime a dozen with some of the other rounds he's pulling off. The kid's ridiculous. But of course, with this match wrapping up, that brings us down to our final 2 teams, Team Heretics and Gen G, in a best out of 5 tomorrow. This is the first best of 5 on an international stage that you've played. Now you have to go up against Gen G in the same task. They're the only real, I think, really high expectation team that you guys haven't had that chance to go up against, who is left in the tournament. What's your expectation for playing Gen G?
I think with the form we're in right now, like obviously it's going to be a hard game, but I still believe in every one of my teammates. I believe in us as like just a squad. So I believe at this point, I believe we can do anything. Like, I don't know, after beating 100 Thieves, after everyone kind of thought they were going to make grand finals, going to win, I just believe we can beat anybody at this point. So I'm not scared. We're just going to go in same fundamentals, communication, everything like this. And I think that's what's going to be the difference maker. But yeah, it's going to be hard for sure.
Yeah, well, we want to get you some time to prepare for that best out of 5 tomorrow. But before the grand final even gets underway, you are not going to want to miss the show match in our pre-show. Team China will take on Team International, and they'll play a brand new map. Benji, I know some of the teams got to get a little sneak preview of the map. You did?
Yeah.
You can't really say too much, but how excited are you to see it?
I'm pretty excited. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a pretty fun map, but I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm not gonna say anything else.
All right, well, we won't get you in trouble, and we'll let you get on with your prep to get ready for that grand final tomorrow. But folks, thank you so much for joining us, and Benji, once again, congratulations, and thanks for the interview.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, well, that wraps us up for today. Of course, that show match and grand finals here from Masters Shanghai are coming your way tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. Thanks, Benji.
This is not the first time, not the second, but the third time these two teams have played against each other, and G2 have always come out on top. But this time around, it feels like Heretics, however, are actually in championship form.
G both going to be taken down, but Woot now fighting three as Trent and Jonah P all fall to the wayside. Swing out Woot, now on for the ace. The one tap, the instant shutdown. Jonah P completely and utterly unaware. The knives coming out as he drives the blade into his back. Swing in, leave, dealt with Icy, dead, showstopper at the ready, set, delivered! Team Heretics, an explosive entry into this lower bracket final. Take down G2, 13-2. As they continue to just challenge forward, they'll just destroy it. They'll just pick them to pieces. And what is that?
Whoa.
The drag across is hearing the footsteps. Oh! Getting leave to boot. Rientz is absolutely indomitable. Pushing forward, gets himself a third. They're all aligned, and he collects the fourth. Back-breaking round to win here for Heretics to try to shut down G2 and Woot. He finds himself a second. He gets the third. What is that? 13-6. Team Heretics, they get themselves up to match point here in this series. One more map, they go to the grand final. And Patatek now arriving, about to make his presence known. The snakebite gonna be thrown down Fallon. He's so damn low, he's so damn dead! Patatek plays it slow! Whoa! Sees to try to slow things up. Push in, he manages to collect two! 1 HP, certainly impossible, but no! Patatek looking for the ace clutch. Gonna be the slow crane forward! How does he do it? They're all smoked off, but can he find the timing? He absolutely can! Jonah P hearing it, drops down, finds the kill basically midair. Quick to trade it, but now he's dead. Rand's taking him out, looking for a second, he's got it! He's got the third! And the hopes and dreams of G2 have come to an end! Lightning will not strike thrice in Shanghai! G2 are the ascended ones, but Heretics refuse to bow at their altar!
Took a dive in the wishing well, but the water never touched my skin. It's been a while since I wished you well. I can't remember how we passed that time. All these faces staring at me, getting closer to the sun. All these voices